What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV and we are all smiles again as Spurs battered Southampton 5-0, which ended Russell Martin's Southampton career. I was there last night. Sim was here in the studio and it was a joy to behold, mate. It was one of the easiest away games I've ever had to encounter.
You singing Jingle Bells last night?
We were singing Jingle Bells, definitely. I mean, the wide range of songs that were sung in the away end yesterday, literally the atmosphere was incredible. One of the best atmospheres I've encountered in recent years. That's how good it was. And, we went up to Man City a month ago now, or just over a month ago in our last win in the Premier League, and the atmosphere was great that night. But this one absolutely smashed that. It really did. It was incredible. Wide range of songs showing their distaste for the owner, showing support for the manager, and showing support for the team as well throughout the game. So it was an unbelievable thing to be a part of yesterday.
Yeah, and things couldn't really have gone better in terms of what we needed for yesterday. Young players coming in. We needed a fast start. We needed to get this game won early because we know we need to rest players for Thursday as well. So I think all in all, I mean, we'll get into the game, but as an overall picture, it was a very good day yesterday. As you say, I was obviously here in the studio, but I was listening to the sounds on my headphones, and all I could hear the whole game was Spurs fans chanting, and they were completely louder than the home fans. Obviously, it helps when you're 1-0 after 36 seconds and 3-0 up after 15 minutes, and it was an easy day in the end. But going into this, you've got to remember how much pressure was on the team and how much pressure was on Ange. I mean, you predicted a draw before the game. Like a lot of people predict us to struggle in this game. And as much as, yes, it is a Southampton side who are down at the bottom 5 points after 16 games, no doubt about it. They're not the best team, for sure. But I've watched them a number of times this season, and in a lot of games, even games where they've lost heavily like Chelsea, there have been periods where they've been on top and they've actually, looked like they can score goals and given opposition trouble. They went to Brighton away not so long ago, got a draw, like a very credible draw, and if it wasn't for a robbery, they should have won that game. Like, they should have beaten Liverpool at home. Liverpool side who are not running away, but, top of the league at the moment and favourites for the title at the time of speaking. And they should have won that game, Southampton, with the way they played. And it was only, again, shooting themselves in the foot they didn't. So, as much as people will dismiss a 5-0 win, and, I don't think we can go overboard, but I think it's probably more impressive than just a win away at a bottom side who, people are saying they are losing don't get me wrong, and they weren't good on the day. But I think we should get more credit than just say, it's only Southampton. Because I've seen better teams than us struggle against Southampton this season.
Yeah, that is true. No, 100% that's true. But obviously the manager has just got sacked after this game.
Yeah.
5 points from the opening 16 games in the Premier League. Whether they've played well in a few games and deserved a few more points, it's fair enough. But yesterday, they were nothing short of embarrassing. Let's get real. They were really embarrassing, and they put in probably their worst display by some way in the Premier League so far this season. That's got to be said. But however, Spurs were scintillating at times. We came out the blocks so fast. We got that goal. What was it? 40 seconds or something? 45 seconds on the clock?
36 seconds.
36 seconds it was. Unbelievable. And the way the goal was scored as well, all the discourse before the game about Jed Spence, and everyone's like, how many times have we sat here being like, Jed Spence has to play, he has to play, he has to play. Why is he not getting his chances? And we both said this, we actually said it against Bournemouth, but then we said it again for this game. This is the perfect opportunity to play him. Porro looks out on his legs. He starts, and within 30 seconds, he's made an absolute unbelievable impact. The way he burned past a player and the way he passed it round the back to James Maddison. I mean, he created that goal all by himself pretty much. Brilliant. And James Maddison obviously slots it in the quality that we know he has.
What was the anticipation before the game to, seeing the lineup, Bergvall and Spence? Was the mood around the crowd, excited to see them?
Absolutely. Particularly Jed Spence. I mean, everyone's happy to see Bergvall, but I think because of the whole narrative around how our fullbacks are tiring, Porro's not been putting in good games over the past month. We need to see something fresh, and I think that we did that. We did see that. Porro, Jed Spence came into it with an unbelievable mentality. He was running up and down that right wing all day long until he got taken off, and with quality as well.
Until he got moved over to the left.
Yeah, but with quality. Yeah. With absolute quality. Every time he had the ball, he used it so well. He was aggressive, and he's made stakes to the claim, and he's sent the manager a big message yesterday.
It was interesting listening to Ange after the game, saying pretty much what we've said in terms of whenever Spence has had an opportunity this season, albeit limited opportunities, he's done well and he's played well. And it's interesting to hear Ange say that because we've been saying that, and then we've been on, as a consequence of that, we've been calling for Jed to get more minutes because, as we say, we've run our fullbacks into the ground, and it's not like Jed has shown to be out of his depth when he's been on the pitch. He saved us against Coventry. He's had a good few cameos. He had a good half against Man United as well. I think came on twice against Man City in both our wins, albeit limited minutes. But when he's come on, he's added, he has contributed to the team, and he hasn't looked out of place at all. So when we're in a situation where we've got Porro and Udogie looking absolutely out on their feet, completely running to the ground, looking like they need a break. I know Gray's come in a few games, and obviously he's been used in Europa League, but I don't know why Jed has not been more utilised in the Premier League after 16 games. It's a mystery to me. This is his first start, especially the way we play, so intense. We need players at their freshest as much as possible. Obviously, it's never going to happen throughout the whole season that every minute of every game, every player is going to be fresh. Some players will have to play when they're a bit leggy. That's just especially the nature of our injury crisis and whatever. But we have a fresh player there. One thing that was so notable to me, it wasn't even what he was doing on the ball, which was great, but off the ball, when we're losing the ball, right, and he's sprinting back at full pelt to get back in position and win the ball back, and a lot of the times it ends up with him just getting back on the winger and making a challenge and putting Tottenham back on the front foot again. And that is something that I feel like Udogie and Porro mostly are really struggling with when we're dominating the ball and then we're losing it, and then they have to sprint back in to get back in position, covering a lot of space. And maybe they can do that when they're in full fitness, but right now they're struggling and looking really leggy to do that. But Spence was able to do that on a number of times with ease, and that comes with fresh legs. That comes with first of all, because he's naturally very athletic and he's very fast, we know that. But I think because he hasn't been used as much, he has that freshness about him, and it's just a mystery at this point, seeing how he's performed when he's just come in, why he hasn't been utilised a bit more. And yeah, that was a message to the manager from Jed, especially after 36 seconds to do what he did. It was pretty much saying, I'm here, you should have used me more, and this is what I'm capable of. And yeah, it's disappointing that he hasn't been used.
I think it makes a bit of a mockery as well, like why we've been overplaying Porro and Udogie so much, or because Jed filled in brilliantly at left back when he got switched over when Udogie goes off, and at right back, obviously for the opening half an hour, I thought he was brilliant as well. So it makes a bit of a mockery of why we have been overplaying Porro and Udogie, because you've got someone right there that has hardly played minutes, that's completely fresh, and that's chomping at the bit to get on the pitch. I mean, last night's performance, you can see from that performance alone and the cameos that he has had that he should, by now, he should be having a lot more minutes. It makes no sense to it.
100%. I'm not even saying, based on what we've seen, he's like the best fullback in the world, but clearly he can contribute, and clearly he's good enough to step in for Porro when needed and step in for Udogie. I don't think we saw yesterday he's better than those players, but he might be. I mean, he played very well, but obviously it's only Southampton, and obviously all these caveats.
We've needed energy in that position, exactly. Right? We've needed energy, and that's what he brings.
Exactly, and they've clearly physically been struggling a lot, Porro and Udogie, and Spence yesterday was like a breath of fresh air, and he brought that new energy. And yeah, I mean, I'm really happy for him. Hopefully, that start can lead to more minutes. Obviously, the bad thing for him is he's out the Europa League squad. We've said that throughout the season, and I'm sure he would have played a lot more if he was in that squad, but unfortunately that's not the case. But in this tough period that we've got, I want to see him get more game time, and it'll be interesting to see what he does on Thursday. Obviously, it depends on Udogie's fitness, but if Udogie is fit enough to start, it'll be interesting to see, does he persist with Spence at right back, or does he bring Porro back in? Because I thought Porro came on and didn't look particularly great again, to be honest. Didn't think he had a shocker, but I thought there's a few times, again, he got bypassed and was looking a bit leggy, and Spence just looked better. So it'll be interesting to see what his thinking is going into Thursday.
It is pretty frustrating, isn't it? Because finally, it was a bit like Udogie, throughout the season, whenever we've given Udogie a rest, he's had to come on early in the game, and it was a bit similar to Porro yesterday. We finally given him a rest, we finally get to see Jed Spence, and then Udogie goes down injured at 4-0 up, and then pretty much Spence had to play the last the last 15 minutes of the first half, and then obviously the whole of the second half, and it didn't do him any favours. It really didn't, because we need guys like that to get a rest and a real rest, and they're just not being able to get it at this moment in time, which is frustrating. But look, back on the game, obviously we go 1-0 up after the first minute. And then we go 2-0 up after 12 minutes. And between the first minute and the 12th minute, I mean, we could have scored like 2 or 3 goals. We were rampant, weren't we? We were cutting them open like a hot knife through butter. Sonny was just terrorising them. I think in the opening 15, 20 minutes, he had about 4 shots on target and could have scored a few more than he did. But obviously, he gets the second goal on the 12th minute. Lovely finish. And it was just brilliant movement from Sonny to get him into that position and to put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, I definitely noticed a bit more of an adjustment in terms of Sonny's positioning in this one. I felt like he was more often than not, he was the furthest player forward, and he was the one tasked with getting in on those opportunities. Everyone's talking about, not everyone, but a few people noticed Solanke wasn't really involved yesterday, and obviously he was dropping a lot deeper, and he wasn't really tasked with getting on the end of things. Obviously, nearly did through a good cross from Son, but definitely I felt Ange made sure that Son was the one furthest forward when we were on breakaways and we were on transitions, and Son was the one we were passing the ball through to, and it worked to devastating effect. And obviously he got the goal after 11 minutes with a clinical finish on his left foot. A bit of luck with how it got to him from Maddison's cross. It got a bit of a deflection. It landed straight to him, but he's got to bury it, and he did. And he needed that goal because he's missed a few chances of late, but he absolutely buried it. And he was the one who looked like he was really stretching Southampton. He was getting beyond the last man. He was getting in those pockets in between fullback and centre-back where he's so dangerous. And when he was out wide, he delivered that ball on a plate for Solanke, which led to the third goal as well. So he got that assist. He obviously got a brilliant assist for Maddison's goal as well at the end of the half. But it was a continuous threat, and he was taking shots early. He was looking confident, and it was a good goal and an amazing half for him. And I was at halftime, I said take him off because we need him in this form for Thursday, and we're 5-0 up. There's no need to risk him carrying on right now, especially that we're managing him. And I'm so happy that Ange took him off, because exactly what I was calling for at halftime.
Exactly, and we've been backing up Sonny on this channel quite a lot over the last month, and all season pretty much. A lot of people coming on saying Sonny's this, Sonny's that, Sonny's washed. I mean, yeah, fine. Southampton were willing participants yesterday in the route that we did have. But, I mean, he was unplayable at times, Sonny, yesterday. He really was. That was his best display of the season. That really was.
Yeah, I think so.
By far.
Yeah, I think so. They couldn't handle it. He only played 45 minutes as well, but they couldn't handle him, really. They really struggled to contain. Well, I think he had to, at half-time, he had to console Walker Peters for the roasting he gave him. I think. I felt bad for him so much. And every time he got the ball, it was a massive threat. And he didn't even have to take people on.
That's so classic Sonny, though, isn't it? Like, give you a roasting, and then he gives him a hug at half-time, be like, everything will be all right, mate. Don't you worry.
You're a good player. You just came up against me on this occasion.
But the average position on the pitch basically backs up with what you say. If we have a look at this via SofaScore, the link is in the description, QR code on screen if you want to download it. Look how far up the pitch Sonny was compared to anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we need him.
Yeah.
That's I don't mind seeing him out a bit wide or whatever, but I think that's clearly, we know that's where Son's is most dangerous, in that position. A bit more.
That is the Sonny zone right there, where the number 7 is. And,
we scored 5 goals, and everyone, I've seen a few people like clowning on Solanke, but I think his main role was to draw a few defenders out so Sonny could exploit those spaces. And I think that was his job yesterday. And if we score 5 goals in every game and Solanke doesn't score a goal for the rest of the season, I don't really care how many goals he scores, because he'll be doing his job. And that's what I'm talking about. And getting Son in those zones is crucial to getting him being effective for us. And we know when he gets in those positions how good it can be. People talking about Son, even recently being in bad form, but since he came back from that injury against West Ham, that's in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In his last 8 games for Tottenham in the Premier League, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 7 goal contributions in his last 8 games.
How many goals? How many assists?
3 goals and 4 assists in his last 8 games. So, where is this bad form? Like I've been saying consistently since he came back from injury, I actually think he's been looking really sharp. And people have been looking at these like, he missed that chance against Chelsea. I remember the Roma game, he missed a couple of really good chances where he should have scored. And people have been focusing on those chances and saying, oh, he's in terrible form. Even the Fulham game, I think he missed that chance right at the beginning of the game, right? So yeah, I get granted he's missed a few chances. Don't get me wrong, and he maybe a Son on his best form will be scoring those chances. But to say he's in bad form, like, I'm not seeing it. I actually think he's looking quite a lot sharper. And like I thought, beginning of the season, I agree, maybe he was looking a bit sluggish. But since he came back from that injury, I think he's actually been looked a lot sharper than he was at the beginning of the season. And just because he's missing those chances, look at it this way: at the beginning of the season, he might not have been getting those chances. Now he's getting those positions, and he's regularly getting in the positions we need him to. And as I've said, he's providing 7 goal contributions in 8 games. And yes, even in those games, he maybe hasn't been at his best, but I don't see him being in bad form. Like I don't know why everyone's been piling in on him recently. Maybe it's just a consequence of us not being in good form as a team.
It's when you're not winning and he's missing those chances. They can be pivotal chances in games, right?
I get that.
So I can understand it to a certain extent, but I keep saying, don't write off Sonny, because every single time he'll smash you back in the face and he'll hit back the critics, and he does it every single season, right? Mm-hmm. Every single season he goes through this little period and everyone's like, oh, Sonny's finished, he's not the player he was, he's this, he's that, and every single time he comes back and responds, every time, and this is no different. This is no different.
11 goal contributions in 12 starts.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant. And what I noticed yesterday as well, like what was maybe different to previous games, is how compact we were in the middle of the park. Like we were so like in the last few games, like against Rangers, against Fulham, like the midfield has been pretty non-existent, and people have been able to just drive through our midfield. Yeah. This time was completely different. I think Ange purposely kind of packed, and you can see it in this average position as well. Look how compact our midfield is.
Well, it's a bit skewed because Spence had to move from right to left.
So that's also true.
So he's
but you look at
centre. But you look at
Solanke, look at Kulusevski.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, we compacted that area. We got. You've noticed that Kulusevski definitely had. I mean, again, it might be a bit skewed because Decky also moved to the left for a bit, so he may have had some positions there. But Decky definitely, look, you saw where he scored the goal. He definitely had some freedom to go central, and that's where he obviously got the goal from. And he definitely wasn't stuck to the right hand side for all the game, albeit he might have been even more disciplined than he's been in other performances when he's on the right, but he wasn't stuck there. And I think how Ange maybe adjusted things was, he allowed Decky and Solanke drop a bit deeper and get a bit more central, and make sure that when we're on the transition, we're just hitting Son early, and he's our furthest player forward. And I think it worked an absolute treat, to be honest. And definitely that was part of the thinking. I think as well, Sarr, if you look at his heat map, he was quite deep. Look how concentration. I know he was
bloody everywhere,
but look how the concentration is very much deep to the right hand side. And I think for sure he was making sure he was helping out Spence, helping out Bergvall in that position. Obviously, he was also getting forward. That's where he got his goal from as well. Brilliant goal as well. But yeah, I think he was definitely tasked with helping Bergvall out and being a bit more of a double pivot. But yeah, Sarr was absolutely everywhere, wasn't he? He had really so much energy. Absolutely fantastic.
And it's mad as well with Sarr, like with the energy levels that he's showing, because he's played a lot of football, right, in recent weeks, in recent months, and he's taken a bit of a dip in form in the last 2 or 3 games, but really bang at it again today.
Well, he had a rest, didn't he, on Thursday-ish?
Yeah, that's true.
He came up, so maybe that refresh really helped him, because he looked really, really fresh in this game.
Then obviously Kulusevski gets his goal 3 minutes, after the 14th minute, 3-0 up in 14 minutes. We absolutely blew them away. A bit of a scrappy goal, but Kulusevski was there in the box to put it home, and that's when the chants, the I don't care about Levy, Kulusevski chant really started to bang. And you know what was cool about that chant is, like, they were using it to show their distaste for the ownership, but every time Kulusevski did something good, or every time he came over for a corner to our side, it just ramped up and ramped up and ramped up.
I wonder what Decky thinks of that song.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was clapping the fans. So
I don't think he's going to be singing it on any official Spurs channels anytime soon.
I've been singing it all morning, man. I really have. But yeah, I thought Kulusevski as well put in a top display.
Yeah, on the right hand side again, and look, I think the last time we played Decky on the right and Maddison in the centre was probably the City game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think that's clearly a weapon we should be probably using more often. And look, everyone's saying Decky is a centre mid now and blah, blah, blah. And he is, don't get me wrong, I think clearly that's his best position. Doesn't mean he can't do a job on the right still. And he's showing in recent weeks, maybe he's more doing a job for the team or rather than being in a position that he wants to be in. But clearly, it's a position he can still be very effective in. And again, City was brilliant. And yesterday, another brilliant performance from him off that right-hand side. He got his goal and he was looking dangerous throughout.
Yeah, he really was. And he's just so physical. It's so hard to get the ball off him when he's in that kind of mood. And again, another player, like I felt like Kulusevski, Sarr and Maddison were just rampant on them in the first half. And they just couldn't handle all three of them, to be honest. And Jed Spence, him as well. I'll put him in there. Those four players, I know there were good performances from elsewhere on the pitch as well, but in terms from an attacking threat, I mean, they just couldn't handle them. Yeah. They really couldn't.
And again, it was an example yesterday, I think, of when we point to Maddison, is when he's in the mood and he clicks, like he's so hard to stop, and I think he's a real glue to this Spurs side when he's on form and when he's playing as well as he can play like he did yesterday. When he plays well, it seems like Spurs definitely play well. You think of all our best performances this season, the City away game when we played at Old Trafford, that Brentford game when he was one of his best games in the Tottenham shirt. You think of yesterday, it's always him being outstanding a lot of the time. And obviously he has been in and out of the team, but again, I find the narrative of him having a poor season just a bit of a strange one. I've been saying consistently, I don't think in general he's having a poor season. I think in general he's actually having a good season where he's had a few poor games rather than a poor season where he's had a few good games. I think it's the other way around. And I think yesterday was another brilliant performance from him. And obviously he scored in the first and last minute of the half. Brilliant goal of the second one as well. That run, that chop back he did before he buried the shot. I've seen him do that so many times, and when he doesn't get the reward for it, he doesn't end up getting the assist or scoring the goal. Because I've seen him done that so many times. He is so good at that little chop back, and he keeps the ball so close to his body that it's really hard for the defender to stop it. And a lot of the time he wins fouls there, or he actually earns that extra yard he needs to create that separation. And I feel like defenders always end up diving in there because they know if they allow him to whip that ball across the face to go on his left foot, he's still got a very strong left foot, so they need to stop it. So it gives him that opportunity to chop in. But this time, such a tight angle. If you actually take a snapshot of when how much space he had to get that shot in, literally, he scored it the only place he could, is right into that top corner. Yeah. Unbelievable finish. It was actually very similar to the chance he had literally a week ago
against Bournemouth. Yeah.
And that one he missed it by a whisker, and this time he got it into the.
I think this one was actually harder.
Yeah, probably. I'll probably agree with that because the other Bournemouth one was not as hard an angle. But again, that Bournemouth one came from that little chop, which is so hard to stop because he's so two-footed and he keeps the ball so close to his body. It's really hard to stop that chop, and we need to see that more often.
But Maddison, in that first half, was literally unplayable. And I think this is why a lot of fans, including myself, get so frustrated with Maddison, because we know what he's capable of. We know on his day he can be literally unplayable. He can be one of the best attacking midfielders in the Premier League. But we don't see these kind of performance on a regular basis from him. And as much as he's not having a bad season and he puts in, good displays, quite a few times this season, it's not as high as like a display like we saw yesterday, and what we know he's capable of. And I would love to see him, do it more often for us, because I don't think like we've seen anywhere near the capabilities of what Maddison can bring on a regular basis at Spurs.
Yeah, I think I'd say more last season. I would agree that like first 10 games he was brilliant, then there was a major drop off, and he struggled to perform in that second half of the season. But this season, I think in general, this first half of the season, I generally think there's been more good games than bad from him. In my opinion, yes, not every game has been a brace against City or a brace like yesterday, and not every game has been that good. But I think in general, he's actually maintained a pretty good level of performance. And look, he's got 11 goal contributions in 13 starts, which is again pretty good numbers. You can say, we got 2 goals yesterday, 2 goals against City, but so maybe that skews it. But he's got goal contributions in 9 different games. So that's 9 of his 13 starts. He's got goal contributions. So that's pretty consistent, in terms of providing for the team. And he does so much work, which I think goes praised, which in the middle of the park, which he does so much good work, which when it doesn't end in a goal or assist, people just dismiss because it doesn't end in a goal contribution. But I think when he turns players and things like that, he does so much of that work. And again, off the ball as well, and he won 7 of his 9 ground duels, so clearly he was there as well off the ball. When you look at like his goal scoring rate, he's on level goals now with people like Watkins and Isaac, who aren't having terrible seasons. He's got, in terms of goal contributions, he's 5th highest in the league now for goal contributions. So, I mean, it doesn't seem to be like he's having a bad season.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, but I just feel like on a regular basis, from what he shows, and on the odd games where he has worldies against Man City and against Southampton, people want to see that on a more regular basis. And I'm more than happy with the goal contributions, how he's contributing this season. There have been a few stinkers in there from Maddison, not going to lie, but I just feel like people need to, because I feel like Maddison has been like a bit up and down, and people want to see like that good base level of performance on a regular basis. And these games against Man City and these games against Southampton shows you what he can do. And we don't see that on a regular basis.
My point is...
But he's contributing well, I'm not going to lie.
I think he's been more consistent than people give him credit for, in my opinion. Yeah, he has an extremely high ceiling, clearly, when he puts in these unbelievable performances. But I think he gets maybe a brunt of the criticism because he's one of the leaders in the team. He's also a bit of a maverick. His personality as well. He comes across as someone who is like happy-go-lucky and all this stuff. So when things are going badly, like people point a finger at him as someone who's not someone who wants to drive the other teams and stuff like that. A lot of it's perception. Maybe there is some reality to it as well. I'm not in the dressing room, but clearly that's something that gets pointed at him. And especially when sometimes we have performances where we are struggling to create chances, the finger gets pointed at him. But I think a lot of the time it is unfair criticism, in my opinion. And I think a lot of the time the finger gets pointed at him unjustly, when I think a lot of the time it's a team issue rather than just him. But yeah, look, he's had some bad performances. Not every player is going to play well every game. But I think fairly consistently, looking at the numbers and when I watch him play, I think he's been pretty consistently good this season. I think the bad performances are the exception to the rule, in my opinion. Whereas the perception you get online is he's bad more than he's good, and I don't agree with that.
So obviously we go 4-0, 3-0 up after 40 minutes. They're forced into a change 15 minutes into the game. Sulemana goes off for Wood. I've never seen a team against us particularly like being forced into a change after 15 minutes. He's hauling off a player.
Yeah, and I felt he said after the game he felt bad for Sulemana, and who's barely played this season as well. And he had quite a fiery exchange with him on the touchline as well. But when you're 3-0 down, he said he just had to change it because it completely backfired, and it wasn't going well at all, and he had to plug the gaps that we were exploiting. But it did stem the tide for about 10 minutes, and then we got another goal, pretty much. So couldn't completely stem it.
But that goal from Pape, man.
Brilliant.
Oh, my God. The way he's just dancing through Southampton players and has the quality to put it in the back of the net as well. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like, literally, Pape Matar was giving Southampton dancing lessons or something on the pitch. He was literally dancing through like a ballerina through the Southampton defence.
It reminded me of a goal like Yaya Toure might score, when he was at prime, when he was at his best at City. Like the way he just powered through, but he was also with that bit of finesse, that little touches in the box, but then he fires it in on his left peg as well, right into the corner. Brilliant finish from him. If you've seen before that, he did an unbelievable. Do you see this touch he did right in the middle of the park? He did one of those I guess like Berbatov or Bergkamp touches in the middle of the park. He like flicked it round the corner, went the other way, in the middle of the park, and set Tottenham on another attack. And he was really in the mood yesterday. And look, I think he's in general having a really good season, but in recent weeks he's definitely not been at his best. Whether maybe he's being overplayed like a lot of our players, he needed a rest, and he got a bit of a rest on Thursday. But he had again as well, maybe been looking a bit leggy. But yesterday, back in the team after refresh, and he was completely at his best, and he was completely dominating that whole Southampton midfield. But he had that quality as well in the final third to make the difference. And once he picked up the ball around the edge of the area, I think he's going to take the shot early. But the way he had the composure to just go through a couple of Southampton defenders and fire in, brilliant moment for him, and real kind of reward for what was a top display from him yesterday.
So 25 minutes gone, 4-0 up at St Mary's, and you're thinking, wow, this could be a record goal. This could be a record scoreline here from Spurs. We were rampant. We were destroying them in their area. The ball hardly came into our half. They had one chance, didn't they, in the first half? But that was pretty much it. But in true Spurs fashion, when things are going too well, there's something in the game to bring you back down to earth. And Destiny Udogie goes off injured after 28 minutes, and it was so frustrating, wasn't it? Things were going a bit too well at that point, and we know how short we are at fullback at the moment. Spence was on the pitch, Porro was on the pitch, so we had no other fullbacks on the, Porro was on the bench. Porro had to come on because he was having a rest and a well-needed rest. And it was just so frustrating. I don't know if there's been any news on Destiny since the game or anything.
Ange said after the game that he felt something in his quad and he wanted to continue, but Ange didn't want to take any risks. And at this point, we know that we're really short numbers. So he said he took him off. At the moment, it doesn't seem serious and it looks precautionary, but we've heard that before, haven't we? And
exactly.
When we said that about Son after the West Ham game, and all of a sudden he was missing for 2 weeks.
Didn't he say it about Van de Ven as well?
Van de Ven, he said, well, he didn't say it was precautionary. He said that he felt a bit of tightness, and the plan was always to take him off on 70 minutes, and they ended up taking him off on 79 or something. And then he's now turned out he's injured as well. So obviously, you can't take anything for granted. Let's hope that the original assessment is true. But, if he's feeling tightness after 28 minutes in this game and his own precautionary, is that, is it even if he's fully fit for Thursday, is it too much of a risk to start him in case of another injury? Do we just rest him for Liverpool? But can we afford to do that? Obviously, we got Porro who'll have to start if that's the case, and then Spence can come in at left back. Obviously, we ended the game with Gray at left back and Dorrington came on. Maybe did he do that just in case Dorrington has to come in at some point over the next few games?
I think he's giving him a taste of it.
Yeah, just to give him a taste, because we actually might need him if Udogie or Porro or whatever, or any of our fullbacks go out and Gray has to play there. Then all of a sudden you're looking at Dorrington coming in. And to be fair, Dorrington, he came on, made a mistake, and then recovered quite well and looked quite composed for the end of it. So, look, it was 5-0. It's not like he had a lot to do. But at least giving him a taste of Premier League action will help him.
Yeah. So, I mean, from the fourth goal to the fifth goal was like 20 minutes. And I'm like thinking in that 20 minutes, like, come on, guys, what's going on? We're not scoring. But yeah, we spoke about that goal. Absolutely high quality from James Maddison in pretty much the last kick of the half.
It was the second goal of the game where we scored it while a player scored it while slipping over.
Yeah.
Pape while slipping over, and same with Maddison. But brilliant finish. It's a goal of the highest quality, that one. Or the whole move.
That was my favourite goal of the day.
Because what a ball from Son. By the way, how many times have we said that ball from out? He's got that outside of the ball.
Becoming a bit trademark now.
Yeah, it's brilliant. That one down the line, and he's so good at it, Sonny. And it's just one he doesn't get enough credit for. It creates so many problems for the opposition, and that was another one. That was probably the best of the bunch because it had to travel such a long way and was right into Maddison's path. Brilliant run from him, and as I said, that chop from him that's becoming trademark Maddison as well. Brilliant, and what a finish! And he celebrated with the Jackal celebration.
Yeah,
he did. Day of the Jackal, which is a show I've been watching recently. Great show, by the way. But yeah, brilliant. Brilliant for Madders, and it's great to see him in that form.
Yeah, it really is, and let's hope that he can kick on now, as well as the team can kick on now. The second half was pretty much a non-event though, wasn't it? It was a completely non-event. Brennan Johnson comes on for Sonny at half-time. I thought Brennan was really bad.
Yeah, he wasn't great. Again, on that left-hand side, wasn't very good. Moved over to the right and did have that chance right at the end of the game where he should have scored, but it was a non-event. That second half really was. The only thing to really say about that second half was I thought Tyler Dibbling looked quite good. I thought throughout the game he was easily...
He's the only one.
He was easily their best player. And he clearly looks like a real talent. He's so strong as well, so broad, but he's also got that pace and ability to get past people. And what I like about him is he doesn't just have that physicality and that kind of broadness to shove people off, and also the pace to get past people, but also has brilliant decision making in the final third. The amount of times he picked the right choice and created good openings for Southampton was a few times, and he also had that shot from about 25 yards which just whisked just wide. It forced to look worried about it, ended up hitting the stanchion. That was a really good effort. So I think for sure, whether Southampton are pretty much going down, but he'll be staying in the Premier League, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tottenham are looking at that and thinking that he could be a real.
What's his natural position? Because he's played in a few.
Yeah, I mean, he's played wing back, he's played winger, he's actually played up front in a game or two. I think for me, he looks like he's at his best when he's on the wing, but I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if he's right or left-footed. He seemed to cut in on his left a few times, but I thought he was right-footed. So maybe he's a bit two-footed. But he's an 18-year-old who's, really shining in a Southampton team who are clearly struggling, and that's
They're going to want a
impressive.
lot of money for him, though.
Well, he said 21 million doesn't even get his left foot,
Yeah.
Martin, although he's gone now, so whatever he says is moot. But yeah, obviously they're going to want top dollar. But look, Southampton have a great academy, don't they? They how much talent comes through that Southampton academy? You just have to think of Gareth Bale. He reminds me of a young Gareth Bale, the way he is, just in terms of his broadness and speed, the way he runs like a rugby player, like Bale used to do. Like, obviously,
I don't know if Bale was like that, though, at 18.
No, but he developed
kind
that.
of developed it as later on in his career.
yeah, but that was obviously true. But that's how he came. And Tyler Dibbling has that physicality. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Tottenham is seriously looking at him, to be honest.
Because when Bale came to us, he was like a bit of a scrawny teenager. He wasn't that he built himself up at Tottenham.
He always had good technical abilities.
Yeah.
He was always very good at free kicks.
I mean, he
wasn't
scored a free kick in his first year at us against Arsenal.
But
didn't he?
for Southampton, he was always very good at
Yeah,
free kicks.
he scored a few in the
He was
Championship,
known
yeah.
as like a specialist.
Yeah.
And then, he developed that physicality. But Dibbling clearly has a lot of potential, and whoever gets him, I think, is going to be a lucky team, I think.
My one gripe, though, with the second half, I mean, I had a few. My main gripe with the second half was that Ange didn't bring on some kids earlier on, because the game was done at half-time, 5-0 up.
Yeah.
Like, why is he waiting with 10 minutes to go? I know he brought on Brennan for Sonia. First of all, I didn't think he needed to bring on Brennan. Maybe he did. But, we had a team full of, we had a bench full of kids last night. It was such a good opportunity to see them for longer than we did. Lancashire only comes on with, less than 10 minutes to go. Timo comes on with just over 10 minutes to go. Dorrington comes on with over 10 minutes to go. We had people on the bench like Olasesi, King, Hardy. Do you think Ange... I mean, I think Ange should have made changes a lot earlier than he did when the game was done.
I was saying it in the studio, I think I wanted Lancashire to get at least half an hour. I understood maybe, just make sure we just see out, make sure... I mean, I know it's 5-0 and the game is done, but you don't want it to be a complete shit show. So I understand waiting a bit, but I think 10 minutes was not long enough. I think Lancashire, give them a proper taste of Premier League football, give them half an hour. Dorrington, obviously, I think Spence was limping, so that maybe that'll cause that sub. But again, could we have given him a bit longer? Could he have given one of those youngsters a chance? He pulled them out of school for a reason, so you might as well use them. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. For me, I was more annoyed that Lancashire didn't get more minutes, to be honest, because I really want to see more of him. I want to see what he's capable of, because I think in the minutes he's had so far this season, look, he hasn't blown me away, but he's looked like he can perform at this level, like at least give teams a bit of trouble. So I was wondering, also Solanke needed a rest. He's going to be relied upon a lot. So wanted to see more of Lancashire, wanted to give Solanke a bit of a rest as well, but that was a bit disappointing. Look, I for one, I wasn't bothered about the second half in terms of, taking the foot off the gas from that point of view, and just conserving energy and making sure we didn't get any injuries and all that kind of stuff, because I think it's a smart thing to do. I know could we have gone for a record goal tally and all that kind of stuff, but I think the period we are, it's with the week we've got coming up, it was very, very important we just got through that second half with everyone intact. That was the main thing, and maybe some subs could have done that to help that as well. But I don't think there's anything worth complaining about in terms of taking a foot off the gas that second half, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, taking the foot... I'm not too disappointed with that. The main gripe of the second half is that he should have made the changes earlier, because you got a squad and you got a team, particularly the first team, that's out on their feet at the moment, playing so much football, tired legs and all that kind of stuff. So there were guys on the bench that could have come on that don't have too many minutes on their legs, and probably made a difference as well against that sort of Southampton team that we saw yesterday. Two players that we haven't spoken about so far today is Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray. Two 18-year-olds coming in. Archie Gray as a makeshift centre-back. Lucas Bergvall for his first start in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur. I think Archie and Lucas, they're just so calm and composed, aren't they? For 18-year-old kids, just making their way at Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. I'm so impressed by both of them recently. Particularly Archie as well, coming in centre-back, no problem whatsoever. Clean sheet yesterday. And Lucas Bergvall as well, starting in the number 6. And he was just so calm and composed on the ball. Yeah, he picks up these stupid yellow cards, which maybe you expect from a teenager coming in.
To the post at one point.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean,
I thought the guy got lucky that he.
I haven't seen that again, but I know. I kind of zoomed in on it on the phone, and I was like, "What is going on here?"
Yeah, he shoved him right into the post from out, like completely uncalled for. I don't know who it was. It was Fernandez who got booked. They're having a bit of argy-bargy right in the corner, and then he just shoves him right into the post. That could have been bad if it went another way, and clearly it hurt Bergvall, and that was a ridiculous moment. I think he got lucky that VAR or whatever didn't get more involved, because I think if he got sent off for that, I don't think he could complain. It was a stupid act from him. It's one of those where if it hits his collarbone or something, it could have been dangerous. So thankfully it was all right, but maybe that was a sign of frustration from him because he was getting the run around. Look, I think from my point of view on Bergvall, I don't think he was incredible. I think he, in terms of when I'm comparing him to like some of our other midfielders this season, Basuma and Benchko, what he was. First of all, as an 18-year-old making your first start in the Premier League, he didn't look out of place at all. He looked like he was at home on that pitch, and he looked like he was definitely of the level to contribute. And he just kept things simple. He didn't overcomplicate things. He did his job for the team. There were a couple of moments where, he did struggle, and he obviously picked up a yellow card. There was a couple of times he mishit a pass and stuff like that, but it didn't let it affect him. He just kept calm, and he just did the simple things. And you saw near the end he went down with cramp and clearly struggling with some of the physical side of it early on, but I thought he just did his job with minimal fuss, and to do that as an 18-year-old in the Premier League at that level, even against the worst team in the league, is still impressive. And I think he'll be very happy to get through that game as he did. And that was a really positive first start in the Premier League for me, for Bergvall. Albeit I don't think he was a standout, but I think it was a good performance, and that's all you can ask for a player of his age. And I have to say, Archie Gray, man, I don't think enough is being made out of him. I think he is. What a prospect he is. He just, any position he's asked to play, he just does it with minimal fuss. He does it with no questions asked. And I just can't remember too many bad games he's had for Spurs this season. Comes in this game again, playing his first start as centre-back in the Premier League. And he just, again, you wouldn't have known. You wouldn't have known he's not a centre-back. You wouldn't have known he was playing out of position. On the ball, so calm as well. Just does things again with minimal fuss. Just gets the job done. He kept a clean sheet on his first Premier League start yesterday as well. We had a back four of Spence, Dragoshin, and Gray and Doggy and Forster in goal as well. So very much a makeshift back line against the Southampton team. Whatever you want to say about them, we've seen them create chances against teams this season. We've seen them be a threat, and they just couldn't lay a glove on them. And I think Gray, I know Dragoshin was actually particularly had a pretty good game as well, but look, Archie Gray, I just want to give him so much praise because he's played pretty much every position this season but his position, and he's been absolutely fantastic, and all this experience is going to help him. And to do all of that at 18 is such a good player to have. He's a player who just filling in so many different positions, and I think he's such a tactically aware player. He's such a player who can, I think, adjust quite easily. I think we've seen that. And I think those players are so important, especially for a team like us, when we have injuries, that can fill in all these multiple positions and do a job in so many multiple positions. As someone described yesterday, he's like a Swiss Army knife. Just kind of do the job that you need him to do in any position. And he just keeps going from strength to strength. And just to think, when he's like, this is him at 18, when he's like 21, 22, playing in all these different, if he can fill in these different positions, it will be such a kind of important player to have in the squad, and I think he's doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think he's brilliant. I really do. And what I would say about Gray, though, I do think like Spence, that performance at right back probably yesterday is better than any performance that we've seen from Gray at right back. And again, it makes a bit of a mockery about why Spence hasn't seen more minutes, because I can't get over that Spence performance yesterday. He's just come in and just shut everyone up. That said that why he hasn't got the minutes. But back on Archie Gray, I mean, yeah, like I can't really add on what you said, because it's absolutely spot on. The guy comes in with minimal fuss and does the job. So I can't praise him enough. But look, it was a brilliant performance in the first half. I think Southampton, you got to say, were definitely willing participants. They were shocking. They were embarrassing for the first half. They really were. They were open. They were so open. They kept trying to play out the back, and we kept just catching them out. And they couldn't respond.
In terms of the goals we scored, though, I've seen Southampton Look, I'm not saying they were good defensively for Southampton or anything like that, but I've seen Southampton continuously, like, goalkeeper pass it straight to the opposition striker and stuff like that. The goals we scored, we had to earn them a lot of the time. Like, it was good quality.
Yeah, but it was still embarrassing defending.
Yeah,
at
of
times.
course, but it wasn't like for example,
They didn't give us the goals.
Yeah, we didn't give us the goal. Like, they've given a lot of teams goals this season. They, like, against Liverpool, you know, the keeper plays it straight to Szoboszlai and bam, he has like an open goal and he scores. Like, against Chelsea, the goalkeeper gives it straight to Nkunku, he has an open goal and he scores. Like, they didn't give us the goals. It was good quality from Tottenham to open them up. Not to say that the defending was embarrassing, because it was for Southampton and it was terrible defending. But at least we had to kind of earn our goals rather than Southampton giving them to us. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true, but I mean, it was just embarrassing from Southampton.
I know he lost his job. Look, tell me about the atmosphere on the home end then, because you were there. Obviously,
Yeah,
you
second half actually. Second half they started singing quite a bit.
But
We started singing Levy out. They started singing Martin out.
On the pictures though, a lot of fans seemed to leave after 25 minutes. Was there a big stream of fans leaving?
Yeah, there was. It's all on the vlog, mate. But after 25 minutes, they started streaming out. Then another lot started streaming out after at half time, and then by the end of the game, you could see. I mean, in the second half, you could see clear visions of a lot of red empty seats in the stadium. So Spurs cleaning out their stadium.
Yeah, and obviously, look, he lost his job after the game, Russell Martin. He was Ange's biggest supporter before the game, so we'll thank him. Maybe he fell on his sword for Ange yesterday. Maybe kept him in a job. But look, in terms of yesterday, just the overall picture, it is easy to say, oh, it's only Southampton, but it was a very big game for him, because if we would have dropped points yesterday, you know, the pressure would continue to build. And, you know, a lot of people were saying even before the Rangers game, he has to, you know, win the next, or he has to win that in the next two, otherwise he's gone, or stuff like that. So as much as, you know, they're bottom of the league and whatever, and they're clearly not a good team, they've only got 5 points. It was a very important result. And as much as we expected a win yesterday, you know, how many times have Spurs this season done what we haven't expected? So it was just nice to see Tottenham actually do what you expect them to do for once.
Yeah, look, the form obviously has been nowhere near good enough. That was our first win since the Man City game, which was the back end of November. So the form has been absolutely tragic since then. And we just needed something. The fan base and the players, everyone at Tottenham Hotspur, just needed something like that yesterday. And it was so great just to see a really convincing win. Has it said to me that Spurs are on the right track now and we're going to kick on now and you know, we're going to get consistent results? No, because, you know, we've seen big performances at Man City, at United, and, you know, the Villa game, the West Ham game, and we've always responded with a poor result after that. So we need to kick on. We need to show a bit of consistency, and what better time than in a big game on Thursday night in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup against Manchester United. So we need to use this as a springboard, but how many times have I sat here and said that? This season.
Of course.
So I don't think that we learned anything new about the team yesterday. The only thing that I think Ange probably learned about the team is how much players like Jed Spence and Lucas Bergvall can actually contribute from the first team.
Yeah, and that was a big positive. The fact that, you know, Gray, we were the first team in the league this season to have 4 teenagers be on the pitch at the same time. We had Gray, Bergvall and Spence all starting a Premier League game, and you know, they all contributed really well. And yeah, again, caveats to the opposition, but still, you can only play what's in front of you. And they are, you know, they're in the Premier League for a reason. And the fact that Bergvall, Gray and Spence came in and, you know, didn't look out of place at all, and Spence thrived and Gray and Bergvall contributed to the team. That's the main positive, I guess, coming out from yesterday. And hopefully that leads to them getting more opportunities now in other games in the Premier League, because especially right now, we're going to need them. And, yeah, that was the main real positive yesterday.
Yeah, look, you can only play what's in front of you, but the reality is this is our first win in 6 games. So that is the harsh reality of where we're at. We're sitting 10th in the league, 4 points, I think, from Man City and 5th. Right
5
now.
points or 4th?
5 points or 4th.
It's
2 are
very
4th, Nottingham
close.
Forest.
Too, you know, are they going to finish in that position?
But look, we've got massively hard games coming up now. We've got Manchester United in the quarterfinal. We've got Liverpool at home the following Sunday. And then on Boxing Day, we play Forest away. So these 2 games against Liverpool and Forest are massive.
We've got a big week, massive week ahead of us.
Massive. So we need to show something in this next week. But this is what I said, right? When we did that thing, next 10 games, how many points are we going to get? I said we were going to get 7 points, and we got 7 points.
Got 7 points. So then you said 5 out of the next 5.
Yeah, and I hope I'm wrong, but Liverpool at home is going to be it's going to be really hard with the likes of Mo Salah against and how frail we are down the wings. I think it's going to be difficult. Forest away, the way Forest have been playing this season, and the whole Nuno story coming into it is going to be a really hard game. And then the Wolves game at the back end of the season, Wolves will change their manager, so we don't know what kind of Wolves it's going to be. So we've got 3 really important games now in the Premier League.
And a cup quarter-final.
Yeah, and a cup quarter-final. So, yeah, I don't know which way it's going to go. But
It's still gone by Christmas, though?
It depends. It depends what happens in the 3 games.
By Christmas.
I don't think he's going to be gone by Christmas, no. But still, 7 points in the last 5 games is nowhere near good enough.
No.
That's the reality. And being 10th in the league at this stage of the season is nowhere near good enough.
No, but I think clearly the club are going to give him the time to turn it around.
The club are going to give him time to turn around, and I'm happy. I really am happy that the fans in the stadium, particularly the away ends, are backing him the way that they are. And, I was on the vlog singing his name at full voice, and I've said it many a time. It's not that I wanted him to get sacked. I just think he would have got sacked, and many managers would have got sacked for a lot less than what they've shown in terms of results at Tottenham Hotspur so far. Like, how many managers do you think can survive being 10th halfway through the season? Not many.
No, but I also think we're we don't have we're not doing the same things as we did under Mourinho and Conte. We're trying to do a bit of a long-term kind of thing. So I think if the club are committed to that, then I think that's the only way we're gonna have we're gonna grow. I think is having a bit of stability. We're not this club that can keep chopping and changing managers and trying to get success. We've done that, and clearly
We've done it for 22 years.
Yeah, it's not something apart from the Poch era where we had him in charge for 5 years, and Redknapp where he was in charge for 4 or 5 years. Those are the only 2 points we've had a bit of stability, and we've kept with it. So for me, I think that's what we need to do to have any chance of climbing the table, growing, and having a bit of sustainable success. So that's for the club that we are at the moment. With how the board are going about running the club, that's the only shot we have, in my opinion, and not about changing managers. So I agree with you. The board have been trigger happy a lot, and they've sacked managers for less than what Ange has done, but maybe that wasn't the right way of going about things. And maybe, I don't know, I'm saying they're realising it, but at the moment it seems they're willing to give him a bit more time than those other managers, and I think that's a positive.
Yeah. Look, I agree with you. I do think it's a positive, and we need to kick on. We need to kick on from here. And I know it's a very hard task at the moment with the amount of injuries that we had. I think he said, 10 first-team players weren't in the squad yesterday, which is pretty much a first 11, which is crazy.
Hopefully, after the Liverpool game, Bentancur's going to be back. Hopefully, Van de Ven won't be too far behind that as well. Richarlison will be back beginning of January.
We need a big second half of the season.
Yeah,
we need a really big second half of the season. And
but if we
win against Manchester United, we're all of a sudden in a semi-final of a cup. We can really kick on from that.
And if we can just keep ourselves within 5 points or so of that top 4 come January, when a lot of our players are coming back, and then we're still in Europa League, a good shot of being in the top 8. We could be in a semi-final of a cup if we win on Thursday. All of a sudden, it's still there for us to have a very good season.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. But I just want to reiterate the fans in the away end yesterday, because it was like the perfect blend, supporting the team, showing what the fans' feelings are on the ownership at the moment, and also support for the team and support for Ange Postecoglou, all in the very same time. And usually, in the past few years, when these chants against Levy and the ownership start coming out, you do hear a few murmurings around you, being like, "Come on, you don't need to do that," and a few arguments and discussions start breaking out around you. But this time there was none of that. There was literally none of that. It felt like the whole away end was in complete unison about that specific topic, which was great to see.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if we do turn things around, if that continues.
Yeah, but every single goal that we scored yesterday, it seemed to get louder and louder.
Yeah, I know, but I remember a few years ago, I think I wasn't there, but I remember you telling me.
Palace game, yeah.
That was the Palace game. I was away, but it was in Israel. Same thing happened, and I don't know. And then we didn't turn things around that season, but I'm just saying it's just an interesting dichotomy, because obviously the worse we do, those noises are going to get louder, but if we start doing well again, is every away game just going to be Levy out if we're winning, if we're doing well, essentially? I don't know. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see.
But you know what, though? In that Palace game, that situation that I just spoke about, discussions and arguments happening when these chants start coming out, that was happening in that Palace game. That was not happening yesterday. And yesterday was, like I said, an away end in complete unison against the board. And even after the game, the players come over and we all celebrate the players. After the players go in, the fans, were staying behind and singing, "We want Levy out," which was madness. So
look, I'm not saying it wasn't significant. I'm just saying if we do start turning it around, it'll be interesting to see if that continues.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens, but it was definitely one of the best away ends I've been in recent years yesterday at Southampton. And the team, delivered as well and thanked the fans for that long trip down to Southampton and not that long, an hour and a half on the motorway. But
it was 7 p.m. on a Sunday, which is
was 7 p.m. on a Sunday. At least it wasn't 8 o'clock because we got back an hour earlier than maybe usual. It was a bit of a weird timing for a game.
I don't understand it.
And also, we didn't even mention Sonny as well, breaking Darren Anderton's assist record in the Premier League. So big up to Sonny, big up to the team yesterday, big up to Ange Postecoglou, and most importantly, the travelling away fans yesterday, who I thought were absolutely brilliant. But that is our match review. Let's move on and let's get into the player ratings, starting off with big Fraser Forster. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. For the second week, he goes to his old I guess Ibrox isn't his old stomping ground, but is his old arch nemesis. And this time he goes to his old club in Southampton. Didn't have much to do throughout the game, but I thought everything that he did do did to quite a decent level. So big up to Big Fraser, keeping up his standards once again.
Yeah, the stats say he made 4 saves, but I'm trying to remember too many of them where he didn't just hang on to the ball like it wasn't an easy save. So I think he didn't have too much to do. But look, first clean sheet since he's come into the team, and he's been consistently good. Look, I gave him a 6 because he didn't have too much to do, but I think it was just a good presence yet again. And look, he stepped in and not done badly. So fair play to Fraser.
Yeah, the away end was chanting England's #1 at him last night.
A few more of these performances, and maybe can sneak him back into the squad.
Yeah, you never know.
Never know.
Jed Spence up next. Him gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. Such a physical presence. His speed was on show as well. Within 30 seconds, proving Ange Postecoglou wrong for not giving him more game time with a brilliant assist. The way he just breezed past the player outside the boot, finding Maddison round the back. But I thought he was brilliant, like in every aspect of his game. To be honest, his defensive off the ball work and his attacking on the ball work, I thought he was spot on.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic, and I was so happy for him to come in and perform in the manner that he did. I thought that assist, he pretty much makes all of it himself, because when he picks up the ball, there's not much on. He just turns Flynn Downs inside out, breezes into the space, and he drives into that space as well with purpose. And then it's a brilliant ball. It's an inch perfect. That is not easy to pull off. The right timing, right weight of pass, right into Maddison's path. It was a brilliant pass, and really set Tottenham up for what was a resounding victory in the end. And I thought, when he was on the right-hand side, he was continually threatening down that right-hand side. He was involved in the second goal as well. I mean, it was only a short pass, but, involved in the move to get the ball to Maddison, who obviously played the ball to Son, who scored. And I thought he was getting to the byline. He was causing a threat. Moved over to the left, and after half an hour, I don't think it was much of a threat going forward on the left, but defensively very, very strong. Made sure he kept their wingers quiet, and just made sure he saw out the game with minimal fuss. So brilliant performance from him, and mustn't have been easy coming in after so long and not having too many starts. That was his first start in the Premier League for Tottenham, period, which is mad considering we signed him in 2022. So really well done from him. Delighted for him, and hopefully leads to more minutes. Yeah, it has to lead to more minutes. If Ange keeps ignoring him after that performance, then I mean, there's got to be some sort of problem behind the scenes. But Ange has got to give him more minutes now. He has to. Next up is Radu Dragusin. 7s all round for Radu. I think he went about his job really well. Didn't get tested too much from a defensive point of view, but what I think he did do really well was on the ball. He looked a lot more confident on the ball. He was spraying the ball about a bit, getting in front of his man as well, and winning the ball back quite aggressively with a number of interceptions. So Radu as well keeps growing in a Spurs shirt. Yeah, and that's a few performances now where he looks a lot more comfortable, and maybe this game time, this enforced game time, you should say, is really helping him develop in this system, and really helping him develop in this team, because he seems a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident. Obviously, he's now the senior centre-back, which is mad to think, next to Gray. And even when he's next to Davis, he wasn't the senior centre-back, because Davis is obviously more experienced. But now he's next to Gray. I think he's taken on that responsibility really well. I
agree, yeah.
And I think he's helping Gray. They're helping each other. And look, the level of opposition maybe once it improves, we'll have to wait and see if they're up to it. But in the past few games, I think they've done a really good job. And sometimes it's them under a lot of pressure, and they have to deal with it. And I thought Dragoshin dealt with it really well.
Archie Gray up next, another performance at centre-back. 7s all round for Archie. And again, another player that keeps growing and growing in the Spurs shirt, filling in at right back, left back, centre back now, anywhere, like you said before, apart from his position. And I think he does it with such quality. I love what he's showing on the ball at the moment. I love how calm and assured he is, and confident within himself as well. Like, how many 18-year-olds can you see in the Premier League stepping in at centre-back completely out of position and putting the level of performance that he does on a regularity? So I'm loving what I'm seeing from Archie Gray at the moment, and utmost respect goes to him, man. Yeah,
definitely. And, as you say, he just does the job that is asked of him continuously without questioning it, and looks like he's excited to do it, and he does it with such composure. And for an 18-year-old to come in as he's done this season, play all these different positions under increasing pressure as well, playing centre-back when we have all our senior centre-backs out in games where we need to win, and he's done it impressively, and he's done it to a level where you have to say he's really stepped in and done fantastically well. And I think as an 18-year-old in his first few months, it couldn't have been more difficult, all the jobs we've asked him to do. And he's just done each one brilliantly. And I have to say, big up to him. I thought he had another good game yesterday. Kept a clean sheet on his first Premier League start as centre-back. Not easy to do. I thought he dealt with Adam Armstrong really well. He had barely anything in the game. And fair play to him. He just keeps doing the job that we ask him to do, and he does it with minimal fuss.
Destiny Udogie up next. Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 7. Unfortunately, only lasted 28 minutes on the day because he felt something and Ange didn't want to take any more risks. But I actually felt like he started the game probably best we've seen him for a while. He was really aggressive down that left-hand side. A number of times he was able to help us sustain the pressure going forward. He was using quality on the ball as well. So it was just unfortunate that he had to go off so early.
Yeah, and hopefully he's all right for Thursday, or especially Sunday, and for the games coming up, because we're going to need him. But I thought he was actually really good in those first half an hour, and a lot of good stuff came through him. He was involved in the third goal. I think he was the one who won the ball back the third goal, he was involved. He plays the ball to Maddison, who plays a long ball. And then the fourth goal, that was on 25 minutes. He bullies Walker-Peters off the ball, then plays that ball to Son, who plays it inside to Sarr, who will get the goal. So he led the charge on a few occasions there. I thought they were struggling to handle him, to be honest, Destiny Udogie. I thought he was looking back to his best until obviously he went down with a tight quad. So let's hope he's okay. But impressive from him.
Pape Matar Sarr, Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. This guy was everywhere. Helped us boss that midfield in a very compact midfield for Tottenham Hotspur. He was leading the charge going forward. The goal that he scored was of the highest quality. The way he was just dancing around that Southampton defence, and obviously he had the quality to put it in the back of the net as well. Had another shot on target on the day, and he was just literally everywhere I was looking on the pitch, seemed like Pape was there. It was madness.
He was absolutely exceptional, and obviously he got his goal, which was brilliant reward for what was a top performance, but covered so much ground. He just made sure as well he was helping out his midfield partner Bergvall as well in the middle of the park, make sure he's not getting overrun, making sure they're patrolling that area. But he had that unbelievable flick in the middle of the park as well, showing his brilliant technical ability, where he flicks it around the corner and goes the other way, like Bergkamp-esque kind of touch, absolutely fantastic. That led Tottenham on a charge as well. And then the goal he scored was brilliant reward for what was a top display, and the way he just danced into the box, kind of driving through, and I think went past, I think it was Harwood Bellis, and firing it while slipping over into the corner as well, showing he's got, what he can do both sides of the game. And he's gotten quite a few goal contributions now, but I think that's his first goal in the league for us this season. And it was a brilliant goal and good timing. And clearly that refresh on Thursday might have done him good. So brilliant performance from Pape.
Lucas Bergvall, sevens all round for Lucas in his first start in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur, and I think he did really well, to be honest. As an 18-year-old coming in terms of starting a game in the Premier League for the first time, I think, you got to take your hat off to him and say what a good performance you put in, because he doesn't look erratic by any stretch of the imagination. And you see like an 18-year-old coming into a centre of the midfield in a Premier League game, you would give him a pass for looking a bit erratic, but he looks so calm, composed. His switches of play are on the money every single time. He's got such quality in his passing and in his crossing. Yeah, he did lose the ball a few times yesterday, but it doesn't faze him. He keeps going. He wins the ball back. He's so aggressive in the midfield as well. So I think there's a lot more to come from Lucas Bergvall.
Yeah, and he's not phased getting on the ball and showing for it, and he's confident in his own ability, and that's really important for a player of his age to show that, because a lot of players of his age, when they get the opportunity that he did, go hiding sometimes or don't look as confident. And he's also got a bit of a streak to him, a nasty streak. You can tell that he's obviously got a few bookings, but he gets in people's faces. He ruffles a few feathers, and that's also an important thing for a player of his age to be like, because a lot of players, opposition players, will be looking at him like, we can bully him and we can get at him because he's probably he's a pretty boy from Sweden and we can get on top of him. But he doesn't allow that to happen, and he's got that bit of strength and steel about him as well. Did get shoved into the post at one point, and that wasn't a great moment for him, but he recovered from it well. And I thought on his first start in the Premier League, performed admirably. I don't think he was outstanding in terms of as in players on the pitch. I don't think he was one of the better ones, but he did his job. He did his job with calmness and composure, and did simple things really effectively. And in his position, that's all you need to do. Make sure you're not getting overrun, keep things simple, facilitate the players going forward, and that's what he did. And fantastic stuff from him.
James Maddison up next, a big fat tens all round who was my man the match. James Maddison, he was literally unplayable yesterday for those 45 minutes. Got 2 goals on the day. The second one was with real quality from such a tight angle. To put it in the back of the net from there was incredible. But when he was charging forward, they just didn't know what to do. I mean, they couldn't get... I think all of his dribbles were successful yesterday. Aggressive off the ball. How many times as well did he win the ball back in the middle of the park when he just had no right to win it back? Like, he would do some like crazy diving on the floor and just sticking a leg out and just winning the ball back. I was like, what the hell is Maddison on today? But I think that was his best performance in the Spurs shirt by a long way.
When he's in that kind of mood, he's incredible. I mean, you say best performance in a Spurs shirt by a long way. I don't know about that. I mean, obviously, Man City away was amazing. We played Brentford early in the season. He was unplayable on that day as well. He's had some pretty good performances.
I've never seen him so dominant, where literally every dribble is successful. Every time the ball comes close to him, he's winning it back.
I think the Brentford game was similar. Anyway, look, this isn't in comparison to his other performances, but he was brilliant yesterday. Absolutely brilliant. Both goals were from the highest order as well. He was like a striker going through on goal for the first one. Brilliant timed run and a great finish. Played an unbelievable ball out wide to Sonny for the third goal as well, which obviously set us up on that attack. And the fifth goal was at the absolute highest order. What an unbelievable finish. Arrows it right into that top corner, where that was literally the only place he could place it. Unbelievable finish from him for that goal. And that little chop is becoming a trademark for Maddison, to get it back on his right foot. He does it so often, especially in the box, and it's something he's got to make more use of, because he's so deadly at it, and it's such a useful weapon to have. Thought he linked up really well with Sonny throughout the game as well. I thought they had a brilliant telepathic relationship on the day. And when he's in this kind of mood, not he's just not hard to stop, but Spurs are hard to stop as well when he's in this mood, and we need to see him in this mood as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, him and Sonny do have really good link-up play together, don't they? They have done all season. Yeah. Exactly. Kulusevski up next, 8 all round for Decky. Another confident display from him. Another display where he was just all over the place. Started off on the right hand side, and the way he was just controlling things from the middle of the park, I thought was brilliant. Gets his goal, a really scrappy goal in the centre of the box. But another player who I just thought was unplayable, particularly obviously in the first half when Spurs were unplayable. But I feel like with Kulusevski, he's becoming such a big fans' favourite at the moment. Everyone is just talking about Kulusevski, and he's been our player of the season by some way. The consistency that he's showing throughout the season as well is unbelievable, and I believe he's got
more goal contributions this season already than he did the whole of last season.
In all competitions, yeah, and which is great, and that means he's adding more goals to his game. Obviously, he got his goal yesterday. It was an easy one, probably one of the easier ones you'll get, but that's a consequence of him making that run when the ball. It was just something that obviously we see Brennan do, but something that we've criticised Decky for not doing when he plays on the right hand side, making that run into the box when the opposite winger is putting the ball in, and he was there to tap it home, which is very, very important. I think he made a big influence throughout the game. I thought Manning couldn't really deal with him on that side. He kept having to foul him and bring him down, and that relieved. That kept the pressure on Southampton. They just couldn't win the ball off him, and he came in central. But I thought when he was on the right hand side as well, he linked up quite well with Jed Spence when he was there until he moved over. So really, really great performance yet again from Decky on the right hand side, and showing he can still do a job in that role, even though we've seen better performances from him in the centre. Yeah,
it's just his sheer physical presence, though, isn't it? Like how many? We've said it a number of times here, but yesterday he contested for 14 ground duels.
He always does it. It's always a high number with Decky.
This is low for him.
Yeah, that's a low number. Yeah, 14.
Sonny up next. Sim gives him a big fat 10. I gave him a 9. Probably Sonny's best performance of the season. He was just like a bit of a bull in the china shop in that first half. He kept going through on goal. He was just relentless down that left-hand side, and his positioning that he was taking up on the pitch was just perfect for where we want to see Sonny. I've criticised Ange in terms of the way he uses Sonny a lot, and I think this way, in this game, he used him and utilised him in the perfect way, because Southampton couldn't deal with him. He had 4 or 5 shots on goal. Could have ended up the game with more goals, but obviously the goal that he did have, he took it really well. His movement on the day was brilliant, and he was just relentless down that side. He really was.
Yeah, I think he was our biggest threat in the front three throughout the game, and every time he was being found, he was causing problems. He got a goal and 2 assists, but it could have been 3 because that laid one on a plate for Solanke, which when it fell to Kulusevski, and that was pretty much made by Son. So it could have been an assist for him. Unfortunately, doesn't count in the stats, but he was creative. He was causing problems on the left-hand side. Didn't even have to, when he got the ball, he didn't even have to take anyone on. He just had to make sure he got a yard and put the ball in, or made a yard for the shot. And
showing his pace as well.
Yeah, showed his pace. Brilliant, good assist for the first one. His first assist into Sarr, good ball into the centre, and Sarr obviously did the rest. And the fifth one, what a ball outside of the boot. From a difficult position, perfectly weighted pass as well, because a lot of players in that position probably overhit it and it goes out of play, but he perfectly plays it into Maddison's path for the 5th goal, albeit Maddison still had a lot to do, but brilliant pass from Son to open up the game. And I thought, Walker Peters were having nightmares of him, and he had to console Walker Peters at half-time for the roasting he gave him. I thought it was an exceptional display from Son, and ended up the game with 1 goal and 2 assists. I think he had 7 shots in that first half, and then rightfully taken off at half-time because job was done and he'd done the damage. So brilliant display from him.
Big Dom Solanke up next. Him gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. To be honest, a 6 is probably more fair for Solanke's performance yesterday, because I felt like he was dropping deep a lot and he was making our midfield really compact and he was hard working, but I felt like there was rare where you saw moments of quality from Solanke yesterday. And when Spurs were so rampant as they were in the first half, I really wanted to see Solanke get on the score sheet yesterday, and I don't even think he took a shot yesterday.
Yeah, and look, I'm not criticising him, because we got 5 goals and it's not like we struggled to create opportunities and openings, but obviously his role yesterday, he nearly got on the end of one for when Son played the ball in, but it ended up falling at Kulusevski's feet in the end. But he was clearly our task with coming a bit deeper, hold up play, making sure that we're keeping the ball in tight situations and facilitating other attacks. He wasn't the furthest player forward. That was Sonny's job. He was the one stretching Southampton. It wasn't Solanke's role yesterday. And he was a bit anonymous, to be honest. He didn't really get involved.
He was deeper than Maddison and Kulusevski.
Yeah, and look, if that was his role, and look, if we struggled to create opportunities and stuff like that, I would say Solanke's got to do more. But at the end of the day, he facilitated the other attackers, and it's not like Maddison or Son or Decky had trouble getting in the box and scoring chances. So was that a consequence of Solanke's movement or where he was, and did he draw other players out, or was it regardless of that? I'm not sure, but either way, we scored 5 goals and we had a bucket load of chances. So as long as that keeps happening and Solanke's just doing his job with hold-up play, I'm not going to criticise him, but yeah, I would like to see him more involved.
I think the one thing I was actually getting frustrated with Solanke in the away end yesterday was the amount of fouls he was giving away, and needless fouls as well. I mean, I just didn't think he needed to do that. But anyway, I'm not going to criticise him too much. I did think, he puts in such hard work ethic and work rate for the team. It's much to be commended. But let's move on to the substitutes. Pedro Porro, who came on after half an hour for Destiny Udogie, 6s all round. Again, I do think he's looking a bit leggy and a bit tired, and he could have done with just sitting this one out completely. But unfortunately, that wasn't to be because Destiny goes off injured. And yeah, I mean, he was all right, but I still think in the second half he got caught a few times.
Yeah, I thought on the ball was pretty decent, but off the ball, he struggled. It again looked a bit leggy. I thought Walker Peters a couple of times gave him a bit of trouble in that second half. Nearly scored a goal when he rifled a shot into the near post, and a couple of times there was one time he gave the ball away as well in a poor area and nearly set up a Southampton chance as well. So I thought off the ball, Spence looked a bit more kind of fresh, and Porro still clearly struggling with something in that sense. I thought on the ball, though, was pretty composed and facilitated some good attacking moments. So not too many complaints there, but again, defensively, compared to Spence, didn't look as good.
Yeah. And the last player that we're going to rate is Brennan Johnson. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 4. I thought it was a bit of a disaster class from Brennan in that second half, because he comes on, obviously, in the back of a 5-0 drubbing in the first half. And, all the fans were expecting Spurs to kick on a bit and get a few more goals. Obviously, a lot of Spurs players maybe were tasked with just taking it a bit more slow, taking a bit of a breather, make sure we just get through this game with no injuries or anything like that. But Brennan, he comes on, and I just don't think he added anything, to be honest. I thought he was backing out of challenges a bit as well. He just couldn't make any sort of impact in the game.
Yeah. It wasn't great. I think, look, the game was dead, so it was circumstances where we weren't really going forward too much. It was just kind of soaking up pressure and just, there was not much intensity in that second half. But Brennan obviously came on and didn't make any real impact. The only time he did, he was Werner set him up for a chance, and he put it over the bar where he should have scored. So that was a good moment. That was a big moment for him to obviously get a goal. Didn't really impact the game, but under the circumstances, he didn't really need to be honest. But obviously, he's going to get judged for not hurting that Southampton defence as much as we were hurting him in the first half. But yeah, clearly the team dropped off. It wasn't just him, so I don't want to blame him for a drop off when the whole team dropped off. But when he did get that chance, he missed it. So yeah, didn't really have a great second half.
Big Ange Postecoglou, Sim gives him a 9. I gave him an 8. I think with the starting lineup that he chose, an 18-year-old at centre-back, an 18-year-old in the heart of midfield, and Jed Spence, who hasn't played, who he hasn't barely given a chance to all season, starts at right back. Obviously the changes were kind of forced. Porro needed to come out of the team probably a few weeks ago, but finally he does that and gives Jed Spence the go. And it all worked a treat, didn't it? Because Bergvall didn't look out of place in the middle of the park. Archie Gray growing game by game, and Jed Spence put in a performance that really sends a message to Ange Postecoglou. So when I first saw the team sheet, I was very happy. I was really happy that I saw those changes. And obviously we just took them to the cleaners in the first half. Job was done after 20 minutes pretty much in the game yesterday. So you got to commend Ange Postecoglou for the team that he chose, albeit he did have a few his hands were tied behind his back a little bit because of the injuries that we have. But with the amount of injuries that we have, and to put in a display like that, again, yes, Southampton are willing participants. You got to give him the utmost of credit for how we've been over the past couple of weeks or past couple of months, how poor we've looked, and we've responded in a really good manner yesterday and finally got back to winning ways. We finally won a game of football, and as much as we criticise him, we got to give him praise when he deserves praise, and I think Ange does deserve the praise for yesterday. The only little criticism I'll give him is not to make changes earlier in that second half, because the game was done, the game was won. Why not bring on a few kids and see what they can do for a longer amount of time?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I wanted Lancashire to get a bit more time, that's for sure. I wanted Sankey to get a bit more of a rest. But as you say, his hands were tied with the Porro sub. I think taking off Son at half-time was absolutely the right decision. 5-0 up, and we're managing his minutes. And when he's looking as fresh as he was in that first half, we need him at that level as much as possible, so take him off as soon as possible. I think he managed the game pretty well. I don't know if it was an instruction in that second half to drop off or whether the players naturally dropped off 5-0 up.
I think it just happens naturally.
It might have just happened naturally. Either way, I didn't mind it because we just have to make sure we're not getting any more injuries right now. So don't need to go hell for leather when we're 5-0 up and we got all these injuries at the moment. I think in a different circumstance, maybe beginning of the season or different moment of the season, I might have been a bit more disappointed in that second half. I think just to where we are right now, I didn't mind it because, we've got a big week coming up and this game is one. So I think the game was managed well. The subs were fine, apart from maybe bringing on Lancashire a bit earlier. So, look, the first half we blew them away and we needed to in this game because he knew Thursday we had a taxing, game in Europa League, and if we didn't have this game won, we could be getting tired in that second half. And maybe that's also what happened. Did we look a bit leggy because of that as well? So had the game won in the first half, the big players stepped up, and maybe he said after the game they sensed that they needed to have a real fast start in this game. And did he instill that in the team? Look, second game in a row in the Premier League anyway that we've been 2-0 up after inside 12 minutes, and we've had these fast starts. Couldn't sustain it against Chelsea, but in this game, I said even in the preview, if we have a fast start like we did against Chelsea, we're not going to give it up, and so it proved. So Ange managed it well.
Yeah, the one request I have for Ange Postecoglou right now, though, can we please just put to bed this Brennan at left wing experiment? Because we've tried it 3 times now in the last 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, why
2
not
weeks.
I don't know. Why not bring on Werner there in that situation? I don't know.
Can we just stop Brennan on the left wing, because it just doesn't work. He's not comfortable there. He doesn't play well there. He doesn't arrive at the back post or give us anything that his strength entails. So please stop. Well, that is our player ratings for the 5-0 win against Southampton. Let's move on and look at what 5 things we learnt from the game yesterday. And number 1 is Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, and look, his first start in a Premier League game for Tottenham, which is incredible to think about, yesterday. And obviously within 36 seconds he got an assist. And in fact, it was it kind of set the tone for his game because he had a really strong showing overall. Won 5 of his 8 ground duels, 2 of his 4 dribbles completed, 3 tackles, 3 clearances. Completed 95% of his passes as well, which is important for a fullback in that position, not to give it away. 2 key passes on the day, and obviously 1 assist. And the assist he made brilliantly dribbles his way out of trouble against Flynn Downs, who's pressing him round his back, and gets away from him, drives into the space really with a purpose, really impressively. Brilliant pass, kind of with the outside of his boot. Brilliant timing and weight of the pass through to Maddison, and obviously he scored. And that assist really comes from his own good play more than anything. And really well played to him, and brilliant response to being left out on multiple occasions this season. Hopefully, Ange will have heard the message loud and clear that he needs more game time, and whenever he's played, he's stepped up. And this is another example now we can add to the list where whenever he's got an opportunity, he's performed. And I need to see more of Jed.
Yeah, he grabbed that opportunity with both hands yesterday, sent a real message to Ange Postecoglou saying, I'm here, I'm ready to compete, and I'm ready to show what I'm about. And he definitely did that yesterday. Within 30 seconds, he gets that brilliant assist that was all by himself. But it wasn't just that assist, how he made an impact yesterday. He was brilliant down that right-hand side. And he's added what Pedro Porro hasn't for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Pedro's been really poor. He's been looking really leggy. And a lot of the chances that we concede, is coming from the tired legs of Pedro Porro looking out of position a lot of times. And the physicality, the freshness that he brought to the team yesterday was brilliant. And when I saw his name on the team sheet, I knew he was going to have a good performance. I just knew it because he's been performing every single time he's got a chance this year. I don't know why Ange hasn't called on him more than he has done, but surely after that performance, he can't be ignored anymore. Surely. So that is Jed Spence. Number 2 is out the blocks.
Yeah, and Spurs yesterday definitely out the blocks scored after 36 seconds, which is our quickest goal in the Premier League since Eriksen against Man United back in 2018, when that was about 10 seconds. So very, very quick start. It's also the first time Spurs have scored 5 goals in the first half in the Premier League ever. So we've never done that before.
Has anyone scored 5 goals in the first half before in the Premier League?
I don't know that for sure. It's the first time Spurs have done it. I'm sure someone's done it. I wouldn't be surprised, but it's the first time we've done it. And as well, it's Ange's biggest win, what's called as Spurs manager. Obviously, the 5-0 win, which is amazing to think because we scored all our goals in the first half, and it's our biggest win under him. But yeah, we were very, very quick out of the blocks yesterday, and that was very important because big week coming up. We've had also knowing that after a European game in midweek, we might be tired going into this game and things like that. So really important that we had that quick start, and look, it won us the game.
Yeah, I mean, they were shell-shocked, Southampton, after 30 seconds after getting that goal, and we were just rampant. We really were. They didn't know how to deal with us. They were completely open. And look, the manager gets sacked. And you know what? When I saw the Southampton manager talking about the team he selected before the game, he was saying that, I've reverted to a lot of the back four or something that was we were so successful with last year. And I was thinking to myself, like,
is that a good idea?
yeah, you were so successful last year, but you also conceded a heap of goals in the Championship with that defence last year. So I thought, this could be good for us, but and that's how it made up to be. But look, I can't give the team more credit than I have done because it's been brilliant. Southampton were willing participants, and they definitely helped the situation for Spurs, but it's brilliant how we came out the blocks fast, because I knew as well with the team how many players getting overplayed that we would probably tire a bit in that second half. So it was important to basically get that game done as early as possible.
And 5-0, I don't think you can get it more done there.
Yeah, exactly. Number 3 is Madders and Sonny step up.
Yeah, and I thought yesterday both of them in tandem were absolutely fantastic. I think obviously Maddison getting 2 goals and Son getting a goal and 2 assists on the day as well. They were phenomenal, and they, Ange said after the game that he really sensed that they felt the need that they need to have a big games in this one, and they really need to step up for the team, because they asked, as he said, with Werner on Thursday, where he was a senior player not really stepping up for the team, when he's asking people like Bergvall and Archie Gray to do roles when, not whether they're ready or not, he's asking kids basically to really step up for the team. It's on the senior internationals to really pull this team up, and they did that. Madders yesterday, 7 out of 9 ground duels won, 3 out of 3 dribbles completed, 2 key passes and 2 goals scored, obviously as well. That's also now 11 goal contributions and 13 starts for him. For Son, 7 shots in that first half, 2 goals, 1 assist, and obviously got taken off at half-time. And that's for him now this season, 11 goal contributions in 12 starts. Also, Son, 68 assists after those 2 assists yesterday, which makes him the joint highest assist maker for Tottenham in Premier League history.
I thought he went outright.
I think he's joint with Anderton now.
No, I thought he got joint a few weeks ago, didn't he? I thought, isn't he outright now?
I read he was joint with Anderton, 68, but I have to see that again. Some other stats, though, which is quite interesting, I thought, that with Son and Maddison this season starting, we've played 9 games.
Yeah, Anderton has 67,
okay,
yeah.
so he was outright. There you go. So he was joint, obviously, with the first assist, and it came outright. With Son and Maddison starting this season, we've played 9 games, won 5, drawn 2, and lost 2. Without Son and when one or Son and Maddison is missing, we've played 7 games, won 2 and lost 5. So clearly, I don't know if there's a pattern there, but seemed to me that we seem to definitely be getting a lot better results when both of them are starting. So we need to get them on the pitch together a lot.
Yeah, that's really interesting
they've picked up injuries as well, haven't they, in times? And obviously Maddison's been dropped some games. So yeah, I think clearly we look a lot better when Son and Maddison are playing.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat. But I think like on their performance yesterday, both of them were just they just added so much. I mean, Maddison, offensively, defensively, the amount of times he was winning the ball back in the middle of the park. Sonny was just relentless up against Southampton. They didn't know how to deal with both of them, and both of them worked so well in tandem with each other as well. It was just a joy to watch yesterday. It really was. So let's hope that they can kick on from here and do the same against Manchester United. Number 4 is Sarr and Bergvall bossing it.
Yeah, and it was interesting to have a centre midfield pairing who's so young. Sarr 22, Bergvall 18, but absolutely bossing it in the middle of the park. And I think Sarr, interesting enough, being that senior midfielder.
Mad to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, and he was the one, though. But he played like it, and he absolutely helped Bergvall and really helped him through the game. And the stats speak for itself as well. Sarr, 5 out of 7 duels won, 4 interceptions, 3 tackles, 2 out of 2 dribbles completed, 2 key passes, and obviously he got his goal as well. So literally, absolutely everywhere was Mate Sarr, and he did a job defensively, helping out Bergvall, helping out Spence and Porro as well, and he went forward and got his goal and helped out the front liners. It was an absolutely phenomenal box-to-box midfielder performance from him. Lucas Bergvall as well. He won 3 of his 7 duels, 1 tackle, 3 interceptions, 2 of his 4 dribbles completed, 2 out of 2 long passes, and 19 98% passing accuracy. So, did his job defensively and just kept things simple on the ball and just made sure he kept Spurs ticking over and had such good technical ability that, made sure that Spurs, he was facilitating the attackers really well. And I thought those two really patrolled the middle really well.
Yeah, I think what impressed me a lot about Bergvall was I felt like after the Karabag game, when obviously he got taken off early because of sending off with Radu, I felt like the few appearances after that, he was like over eager to impress and he was trying things like maybe he shouldn't be trying and not as calm and composed as he should have been, where the last few performances have been anything but that. It's been really calm and composed, picking out the simple options, decision making has been really good, and his spreading of the play has been top quality. So I think he's just got back to basics now after, and he's really reaping the benefits of it, and he's showing that he can be an option for us in the Premier League now, which is great to see. And with an 18-year-old coming over from Sweden, I think, and not played anywhere close to the level of, I know Southampton weren't great yesterday, but in terms of the level of opposition in the Premier League and in the Europa League is a lot bigger than what he's ever had to contend with before. So he's showing himself massively in a massive way for Tottenham at the moment, and he keeps growing in the shirt, and he's got a massive future ahead of him. Pape Matar Sarr, I mean, yeah, he's had a few poor performances recently, but the season he's having, he keeps going from strength to strength on a general basis. And yesterday, it's that usual cliche that we're going to say about Pape Matar Sarr, covering every blade of grass, and that's exactly what he did yesterday. And the goal that he scored was of the highest degree. The way he just danced through the Southampton defence like they weren't even there and slot it in the bottom corner as well was absolutely brilliant. So I can't sing Pape's praises enough. And
so his 6th goal contribution in all competitions now?
Yeah, first goal in the Premier League as well for us this season. So
4 goals and 2 assists in all competitions.
Did he play 90 minutes yesterday?
I think so.
Yeah, I just hope he's got energy in those legs for Thursday, because we're going to need him on Thursday.
I mean, if Pape can get up to over 10 goal contributions, considering all the work he does off the ball, I mean that's a sign of an unbelievable midfielder right there.
Yeah, and do you know what? Last season, the emergence of Kobbie Mainoo, everyone's talking about Kobbie Mainoo this, Kobbie Mainoo that, and I was thinking, like, why isn't Sarr getting this kind of reception from the rest of the fans in the Premier League? And this year, if anyone says Kobbie Mainoo is better than Pape Matar Sarr, they don't know what they're talking about, because Pape is, I think he's levels above Kobbie Mainoo. I really believe that.
Well, Mainoo's a bit younger, but yeah, absolutely facts.
Yeah. 5th and final takeaway. Oh, God. Top 10.
And no, it's not a top 10 list or anything. Spurs are back in the top 10 after a win yesterday. We were in the bottom half for a week, which wasn't great reading, and it might happen again if we lose to Liverpool. But good to find us back in the top 10. But look, more importantly, it was very important to win yesterday, because if we would have lost, all of a sudden we'd be 8 points behind 4th, and everything would be getting away from us. And all of a sudden, when you look at the table now, it's we're back in amongst that pack, and it's very, very congested again. Everyone's taking points of each other. You're looking at that first to 13th, like. When you're looking at whenever you look at our fixtures, it just seems as though every time we look at our fixture list, it's like, oh, it's a difficult run now. It's because over half the Premier League have got really good teams. Like if you look at there are 13 teams at the moment probably in the Premier League who probably feel like they could be in that top 7. Yeah, and that's the reality right now, or playing in that way. So it is so tight. Everyone's taking points of each other. Every week there's going to be teams playing against each other where we got opportunities to take points off. So look, important to get back in amongst that mix and try and close that gap to the top 5 or top 4. And look, we still got some really difficult games coming up. But in terms of the table, I know it's only a win against Southampton, but very important we did get that win in terms of keeping ourselves in and amongst it.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie, the table ain't looking great at the moment. We're sitting 10th in the league, and that's nowhere near where we should be at this moment in time. We finished 5th last year under Ange Postecoglou, and that you kind of feel like that could be the ceiling for Spurs 5th. But there could be look as well, there is an opening in the top 4. If Man City keep showing this Man City, they're not going to be anywhere near the top 4. So there is an opportunity there if we go on a big run. And I think any team from 4th down to 13th that go on a big run put themselves in a big conversation. But we got to go on that run, and we haven't shown the ability to do that as of yet. And we've got Liverpool next in the league, which is obviously going to be a really difficult game. And if we do lose to Liverpool, we can find ourselves as low as 13th, 14th in the league. So this win yesterday doesn't tell me anything that we can go on a run. We need to show it and we need to prove it, because we've had big wins against better opposition against much better opposition than Southampton, and we haven't done it and we haven't responded in the right manner in the game after. So it's all about the response now. We've got a big game on Thursday and a big game on Sunday, and we've got a very small squad with a lot of injuries. So it'll be interesting to see how we can manoeuvre that.
All runs have to start somewhere.
They all have to start somewhere.
I mean, it's mad to think that we're 10th in the league, second for goals scored, one behind Chelsea.
Only Tottenham.
Third in the league for goals conceded. Third. Only Arsenal and Liverpool have conceded less than Spurs this season. Goal difference plus 17, and yet we're sitting here.
Only Liverpool and Chelsea have better goal difference than us, and that's only by 1.
It's mad. And we're sitting here in 10th. I mean,
only Tottenham.
Only Tottenham can do that.
This is Tottenham, mate. This is Tottenham. And back in the Pochettino days, no team ever, I think, in the history of the Premier League has gone over the stretch of 2 seasons, have the best attack and the best defence, and not won the league.
Yeah.
Only Tottenham can have these stats.
Imagine we end up like the season, like best attack and like one of the best defences and finish 10th. Imagine that.
Only Tottenham could do that, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on. We're going to see how the internet did react to the game in the last segment of the show. And first up, we're going to look at Will. It's Will. And he's got a few dots on a graph. I'm sure you can tell us more about this.
So this is quite interesting. This is comparing how teams with certain goal difference after 16 games to the points they usually accumulate. So if you look at the first one, you can see this is where, so we're on a plus 17 goal difference here. It's hard to see because we're kind of in the way, but yeah, you go. So we got a plus 17 goal difference, and to the right of the bottom, that's quite high. So usually to the right, you can see how many points that usually accumulates. And after 16 games, we've got the lowest points total for having a plus 17 goal difference compared to what we usually get. You'd usually be on. After 16 games, no one's had less than 30 points at this stage, and we're on 23. So that's particularly low, it's fair to say, with a plus 17 goal difference. And the next one is the league position you're usually in with a plus 17 goal difference after 16 games. And we're 10th, which is no one, as you can see here, no team has ever been lower than 4th with a plus 17 goal difference after 16 games. 4th, and we're 6 places lower than that. So this is a record low for a team to have a plus 17 goal difference and be where they are in the league, which is mad to think about. So I don't know what it tells you. Does it tell you that it's unlucky, or it's just whatever it is? But
it tells you Tottenham Hotspur, hold my beer. That's what it tells you.
That's what it is. So we are the lowest team to ever have a plus 17 goal difference after 16 games.
Let's move on. Chris says, we really need to see Son and Maddison start together in the Premier League. We are far better with both starting. Son and Maddison, 5 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. Without Son or Maddison is 2 wins, 0 draws and 5 losses.
Yeah, and that probably shows how important they are to the team, I would say. So quite interesting, that stat. And maybe we need to look, I think they clearly have a good relationship, don't they, Son and Maddison? So I think both of them on that left-hand side as well. Like they cause a lot of trouble. For
just so able to just keep the ball together and the quick little interchanges that they show, and they seem to be on each other's wavelength in terms of the runs that they both make off each other. Next up is from WeAreTottenhamTV. Return of the Jedi. What a performance from Jed last night. Rate his performance out of 10. And that was a picture I made with AI this morning. Just had to be done.
Had to course, 100%. Jed was using the Force yesterday.
He really
100%.
was. That's the name of my FPL team, Return of the Jedi, as well. So
you're manifesting it.
I manifested it at the beginning of the season, yeah. Tottenham Hotspur tweeted this out. Pape's touch map is every blade of grass. And just look at that touch map yesterday.
That is mad. Look at that. Literally, is there any, apart from, I can't be right, because didn't he touch it in the box as well when he scored? So, is it the other way?
Yeah.
So that's the goal. That's the goalkeeper when he doesn't touch it. So unbelievable. Literally, he just covers so much ground. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Next up, this is from Sam's in Korean. It says, I feel good because we talk while laughing a lot. And that is Sonny and Kyle Walker-Peters after the game, after he absolutely ripped him to shreds.
At half-time, he was consoling him, but at full-time, he's having a nice laugh and a joke. Kyle Walker's is like, no chance you can get him to re-sign me? No chance of being a good word? Nothing? And Sonny's like, maybe not after that performance.
Yeah, you were calling for it in the summer, though, Kyle Walker-Peters' return.
Could have done with him this season,
Yeah.
I think.
What do you think, though, now, after half a season in the Premier League?
I don't think he's the problem. I think he's particularly not done too badly. But look, I don't know if he's the answer, but I think he definitely could have been useful for us this season for sure. If you ask me right now, should we have signed him in the summer, having seen what's happened? I think probably yeah. I think we could have done with him, and it would have helped with the squad with the homegrown thing. So probably it was a mistake not signing him, to be honest. In hindsight, I would say.
Interesting. Peter Rainey says he hears it, he hates it. Away support is the key. Keep it going. And that was Daniel Levy in the stands yesterday at Southampton, obviously in the director's box or whatever he was in. He must have definitely heard what was going on in the stadium yesterday.
Yeah, but he doesn't care about it.
He probably doesn't care.
He doesn't care about. You don't care about Levy, and he doesn't care about you. That's the reality.
There were a few pictures though of him just looking visibly very frustrated yesterday, so maybe he does care.
Maybe he needs to change his song.
Ryan Coy saying Kulu robbed of that assist. What assist is he talking about?
Don't know. I don't remember liking that one.
Fabrizio Romano saying, which Tottenham player would you like to bring to Bayern? Young fan asked Harry Kane, and he said Sonny, which is, it's fairly obvious, isn't it?
Of course, imagine that link up at Bayern, but you keep your grubby hands off him.
Exactly. You left Kane. Don't try and take our best player now as well. Nice one, Sonny says, a certain section of people are awfully quiet today, so I'll be loud. Shifty says, no allegations, no controversies, underrated player, extreme loyalty to the club, most consistent winger in the Premier League along with Salah. Nobody gives this man his credit. Heung-min Son appreciation tweet. And that's from a Man United fan.
And he does, and 100%, 100%. And I think he's absolutely spot on. Doesn't get the credit he deserves. Every time he has a bit of a rough patch, people are so quick to jump on him and, write him off at your peril, as Ange said.
This one from THFC Reports quotes from Spurs' latest edition and Yang Min-hyuk, who's been pictured travelling to London yesterday to join Tottenham Hotspur. And his quote says, personally, I feel ready. I'll work even harder to show my best performances. I hope fans will continue to cheer for me while I haven't shown much yet. I'll do my best and I'm excited for this new chapter at Tottenham. I look forward to learning from senior players there and working hard to contribute to the team.
Yeah,
he's backing his ability.
Of course he is. Why you don't get to where he is without being confident and backing your own ability. So let's hope he can come in and make an impact. It's going to be hard for him because, coming from the K-League, different kettle of fish. But with the injuries we have, he might get some opportunities early on just to show what he's.
I want to see him start at Tamworth.
Yeah, get him.
There's no reason why he shouldn't start at Tamworth. Mari says his shining smile, so handsome, legend, and this is an actual picture. Did he actually show up that shirt yesterday? I don't know if that's real or not.
I mean, it's very good AI if it's not real.
It looks, yeah.
So must have print. Did they print it?
Oh, they did print it because the next one is of them printing it.
Wow, so they printed it and they kind of sensed he was going to get it in this game.
But how could they sense he was going to get 2
assists? Because they're Southampton. They just knew. He loves playing at Southampton.
He does. He got 4 goals against Southampton in the last win there.
It to every game. I don't know.
Look at that hand drawn. Sonny.
That is really nice. To be fair,
go to the tweet below it. Hand drawn.
Wow. Who drew it? Who is this guy?
This is Tottenham official.
Yeah, I want a hand drawn of me.
That's mad. But yeah, big up to Sonny. 68 assists, most in our Premier League history.
Doesn't get enough credit for that side of his game, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Everyone just talks about him about which he is about being an elite finisher, but no one talks about how creative he is as well. Absolutely,
and to be up there as the top assister ever in Spurs in the Premier League is just the utmost praise he can get. THF Sport is showing a picture of Yang Min-hyuk on his way to join Tottenham Hotspur, signing a Spurs shirt. It looks probably in the airport in Korea, that I would assume.
Yeah, let's hope he impresses in training early on. Be interesting to see how he adjusts.
Yeah, StatMuse saying Son has 8 multi-assist games in the Premier League. Only Darren Anderton has more for Spurs in 12.
Wow, is he going to break that record?
Yeah, I think
4
so.
more?
Yeah, why not? He'll probably
So 2
break it
more
by the end of the
assists?
season.
Yeah, come on.
StatMuse FC saying Decky's goal and assist 12 this season, 11 all of last season, just showing like
We're not
that
even
different
halfway through yet.
Yeah, I know it's mad. Decky has just been incredible this season. He really has.
And he offers so much beyond the goals and assists as well. But I really feel like before the United game, he was playing really well, but maybe not having the output. But like I think in like the last like 10 games or so, his output's really gone up.
Yeah, and that's one criticism I've always had of Decky. Like with the quality that he's got to be getting more goal contribution, because we saw it quite regularly when he first joined us in that January till the end of the season when we got top 4. But since then, we haven't really seen it on a regularity, but he's really starting to add that now. And I even think he's capable of a better rate than he's getting now.
Look, he's still, 24? You can still go and grow into a much better player as well. So
Surely right here, right now, sitting here 16th of December, he's in Team of the Year in the Premier League. Team of the season.
Well, you could put like Palmer in there, like Caicedo, does he go in there? So obviously he's in the middle 3. That's probably the middle 3, him, Palmer, Caicedo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Snuggy says Sonderella, Sonny with his boot off
He lost his
yesterday.
boot. Does someone does it fit? Does the slipper fit?
Is someone going to take him to the ball?
Everyone wants to take it. That's the question.
Squawker saying Son Heung-min has now provided more. We've been through that. Club legend. Son Heung-min versus Southampton. 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 chances created, 4 shots on target, and he only played in one half.
Yeah, incredible, isn't it? That he went off at half time and he was still so effective. He probably had a few games worth of shots in that one game. So he was electric on the day, and I'm so happy that we just managed him and made sure he went and we took him off, because that's when Sonny's in that kind of form, he's just invaluable. So absolutely fantastic management.
And what's that? The sound of silence. What, the haters? I can't hear you. Where are you? Where are you? Is Sonny done? Is Sonny washed? Do me a favour. Mari says, a captain who always cares about his teammates. I hope a doggy is doing well. And yeah, that's just Sonny, isn't it?
Maybe he was telling the doggy, look, just get off if you've got feel anything, because we need you for Thursday. And he was like, yeah, you're right. Because apparently he wanted to continue. So maybe that was Son telling him.
Yeah.
So I think that's the moment, isn't it? He went off.
And it was 4-0 at that point as well.
Yeah, it's probably made one of the reasons.
Spurs Global saying Sonny has the most Premier League assists for Tottenham, and Christian Eriksen wasn't too far behind, was he? 62.
62, and he was there for quite a bit less time as well. But yeah, I mean, still to have more than Eriksen, Eriksen was kind of a chance creation machine. So, Son to be up there, even though he's played more games, is still very impressive.
Dahlia says, me headed to Twitter when Sonny has a good game.
Yeah, rush it over. Get me there now.
Spurs Global, Son via Instagram, a proper team performance and result. Proud of the boys. Time to keep the focus and push on. This is the level we expect of ourselves. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, nice message. But let's just hope we're not hearing any more apologies over the next few games.
Yeah. Spurs pictures that go hard. I love this picture. Look at Bergvall coming in as well.
Love it. Getting right into it. That must be for the first goal. Yeah. So none of them are even breaking his sweat. It's actually a first goal, right? Southampton didn't touch the ball, did they? We scored without them touching the ball.
Is that right?
I think so.
Must have done, because we kicked off, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they touched the ball.
Incredible. 100% possession when we scored our first goal. Lily White Rose saying, today was a good day. It was a good day to see Alfie Dorrington. It was really nice to see Dorrington, because no one's really spoken about him too much this season, but I think it goes to what you were saying in the review. It was just good to get him feeling part of it and getting him on that pitch, because we might have to rely on him if one more injury comes.
Yeah, and he did make a bit of a mistake early with one of his early touches, but did really well to just make sure it didn't affect him, and then was quite composed after that moment. And look, he's similar age to Archie, and Archie's playing at that position. I know Gray's had more experience in the Championship, but look, maybe Dorrington can fill in on some occasions. Obviously, he's a bit bigger, and he's done well at youth level. And look, in the next few games, if there are any more injuries in the back line, he's not too far behind at the moment to be called upon.
It's a good story for Dorrington, though, because this time last year he was really highly sought after. He was making a big name in the under-21s, and he was knocking on the door. People were thinking, give Dorrington a go, give Dorrington a go but he's had a lot of injuries since then and really serious ones. So it's really nice to see him recover, get back at it, and make an appearance for the first team.
100%.
Ben Bowman showing the heat map yesterday, just showing Sonny and Decky's positions on the pitch yesterday.
Yeah, and that was an amazing. I don't know if it was an adjustment from Ange, but definitely it was there on the pitch that Sonny was our furthest player forward, and he was the one tasked with kind of getting in behind and stretching Southampton, and that's where you want to see Son, because that's where he's at his most dangerous. So definitely think that was a good decision if it was a pre-planned one.
So Fantasy FPL tweeted out yesterday, Son goal, no assists. And Maddison quote retweeted it saying, but my intended target was Son, so now what?
No assists because it took a flick off one of the Southampton defenders. Very harsh, to be fair, because I've seen assists given for less than what that one. So I can't understand Maddison making a bit of a joke of it. But yeah, FPL have got a lot to answer for. Apparently, Maddison's now in the top 5 for points in
Is that right?
now in the FPL.
Wow.
So underrated pick, probably.
He's probably got a low percentage of owners as
Yeah,
well.
probably.
James Maddison as well tweeted out, the Jackal would have been proud of that one.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I don't know the reference, but I'm sure
the
you
day
can
of the
tell.
Jackal. He's a sniper who's he's known for taking unbelievable shots from distance.
Oh, I see.
And
Let's see more of those shots from distance then.
right into the corner. What accuracy there was. Look at that. Right into the corner. As I say, when you look at snapshot of when he took the shot, such little to aim at. I don't know how he found it, to be honest.
Incredible. It was just one of those days, just everything was just going in, wasn't it? It just felt like as well, every time we went forward, we were going to score.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like
That was
yesterday.
the feeling, for sure.
Tottenham Hotspur tweeted out 100 Premier League appearances and counting. Sadeki, a Tottenham Centurion.
Wow. Unbelievable. And hopefully the next 100 will be even better.
Let's hope so. It will be. Tottenham as well, tweeting out saying some trio with Pape, Madders and Bergvall, with Madders with the Man of the Match award in his
I don't
hand.
know why Bergvall's displaying an empty box. It's like, as if like that's something to see. But I find that quite funny. But big up to Madders. Madders with his 2 younger brothers, it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. Spurs pictures that go hard. Look at that passion from Sonny when he scored yesterday.
Love it. Come on. Captain, fantastic.
Now, this is an interesting one. Data MB, no winger in Europe's top 5 leagues has more key passes per 90, 1.49, than Son Heung-min this season. 100% percentile for key passes, 93rd for XG and XA, 84th for non-penalty goals, and 90th percentile for assists.
Wow. He's really taken that creative role. He's taking it on, isn't it? Because I've been critical in terms of I see him more of a goal scorer than a creator, and is that something that he's going to be one of the best in the league at? But clearly he's really developed, especially over the last year or so, really developed that side of his game, and I would say develop, or maybe shown it more. And look, he's creating chances for fun at the moment. That's the truth. And when he's on the left hand side, I was saying, is he a left winger anymore? Because does he have that ability to continuously take on his man, all that stuff? But he's showing you maybe don't even need to do that. You just need to create a yard, and he's got the ability to whip a ball in on either foot, and that's all you need when you're in that position. Yeah,
after all that discourse and conversation last season about winger or 9, I mean, it's clear as day now that he's better on the left than he is in the 9.
Yeah, I have to concede that point for sure.
Squawker say this is earliest Tottenham have led by 4 goals in the Premier League game by 25 minutes, mate.
Love it. I love the picture of Ange with the coffee there. Just chilled as always. Love it.
Tottenham captain Son Heung-min now scored in over 100 different Premier League matches. He joins fellow players to achieve such a feat. So Shearer, Cole, Lampard, Kane, Vardy, Defoe, Hasselbank, Ferdinand, Owen, Salah, Anelka, Fowler, Robbie Keane, Van Persie, Aguero, Gerrard, Sheringham, Henry and Wayne Rooney.
Quite a list. Not really a bad player on that list, is there?
No, he's in good company. He's basically, these are all the best goal scorers that the league has seen.
And there's Sonny up there amongst it.
Yeah, and he should be. Next one is Tottenham Hotspur related, saying Maddison has as many Premier League goals this season as Ollie Watkins and Alexander Isak.
Oh, not bad company there as well.
Well, 9s.
Huh?
They're 9s.
Yeah, which is mad. And then you wouldn't look at them thinking they're having terrible seasons. Maybe not as good as you'd hope, but I don't think they've been terrible.
Well, Isak had a very slow start to the season, and he's just starting to kick into gear in the last few weeks. And Watkins as well has been a bit up and down.
Fair, but I don't think they've been terrible. And Maddison is level. Look, my point is, Maddison being up there with that, you wouldn't think it with the discourse around him.
True. Kane from the lane, another one of these AI-generated pictures. Yaya Toure putting the crown on Pape.
Yeah, UIA apparently is our kit sponsor. But what's it called? Yaya crowning Pape the new king of the Premier League.
Absolutely.
And that was, as I said, that was a bit of a Yaya Toure goal yesterday.
And you know what? When Yaya was at Spurs, I think Pape was actually on record saying how much he helps him with his game and stuff, and he looks up to him like a big role model. Like he's the guy that he would want to influence his game on.
Oh, if he's even half as good as Yaya, then we got a hell of a player on our hands.
Yeah. Carly on you Spurs says, nah, that's dirty. And this was when Bergbaum got shoved on the post. And how...
Look at that. He just shoves him right into the post.
That's madness. That's absolute madness.
I could have been a lot worse. Thankfully, he came off it okay, but I don't understand how... I think VAR, he's lucky that VAR didn't look at that, I think.
AJ THFC says, soak this picture in, man. Looks fuming from the chance.
Yeah, he's not happy.
Come on, mate. Your team are 5-0 up, and this is what you look like.
He's giving the fans the side eye. He's giving them the side eye. The Brennan side eye.
Alfie THFC saying, why is he celebrating like we're playing on Nuketown?
I think that's a Call of Duty reference.
Okay.
But it's a Day of the Jackal celebration. Clearly, they're fans of the show. So big up.
DXNTHFC, that Ramsdale face looked a picture last night.
I thought it was extremely odd that they had Ramsdale in the studio. He's like a member of the team. He's watching his own team getting battered 5-0, and he's being asked what do you think of the manager? He's like really odd.
I didn't see any of it. What was he saying?
I was I couldn't really listen to it because I was live, but he just looked really uncomfortable, and obviously it's half time. They're cutting to the one thing in his comments how's the team do? He's like I don't really want to criticize my own team. Just really strange. At the end of the game, I'm sure the manager will tell the team some home truths, and we trained really well. And it's I just thought it was an odd decision for Ramsdale to agree to go on as a pundit when he's watching his own team getting battered.
Yeah,
it's just really odd.
Yeah,
but Ramsdale, he just loves being relegated. He loves it. He thought he got himself out of it. He's like, nah, I need a good relegation. I miss it. I miss going down. He's been relegated 3 times, I think, already in his career. I think he's about to be a 4th.
And when he was at Arsenal fans led us to believe he was the best goalkeeper in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's been injured for Southampton, but he misses the fight.
Yeah. Madders Prop says, our wins this season 4-0, 4-0, 5-0, 4-0, 3-0, 4-1, 3-1. Every team that we've beaten this season, we've absolutely battered, haven't we? But then we have had 7 losses this season 3-2, 1-0, 1-0, 2-1, 4-3, 2-1, and 1-0. They are all narrow losses on the face of it. Yeah,
and I think I agree with that. As I say, we're getting big wins, and we are losing too many games, but only when we do lose, it's only by 1. So hopefully, especially once you start getting players back and things like that, or maybe a couple of more additions, that can start to turn. But I just feel like when the wins are such big margins at the moment, and you'll see what the team's capable of, hopefully we can ride it out at this difficult moment, which is still there. Even though we got a win yesterday, we're still in a difficult moment. And I'm sure, as I said after the Bournemouth game, there is going to be some pain, I think, between now and especially January. I don't think that's going to stop, even with this result. It will be alleviated a bit with that win, obviously, because if we wouldn't have won, the pressure would have been massive. But for me, I see enough to stick with, in my opinion, in terms of, if we were, as I said, if we were winning games like we were winning under Nuno or whatever, I would say I don't see enough to stick with it. But because we're winning games so well, I think if we can just turn around these defeats, we're going to have a good team here.
How many games did Nuno manage us for?
I think it was 10 games.
10 games. And just nearly got as many losses this season than Nuno managed games.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. At that point. But look, at the end of the day, Nuno was only here for 10 games. So you could probably argue, did he get a fair crack of the whip? Probably not. He probably was the fall guy for what was a really terrible time for the club. Kane wanted out. We were just all over the place. Mourinho just left, and we had that unbelievably embarrassing manager search where we went for like 7 different managers and no one wanted to come here, and we landed on Nuno. And clearly he's showing right now he's not a bad manager, and he was good at Wolves as well, let's be honest.
Wolves have fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, I mean, he got them to Europe, got them to a quarter-final of the Europa League, and then he's top 4 right now with Forest, so clearly he's not a bad manager. So I think it's fair to say he probably didn't get a fair crack of the whip, and we fired him out probably more panic than anything. Obviously, we weren't doing well, let's be honest, and he was terrible, but he probably didn't get a fair crack of the whip. We probably panicked, and Conte was there, so we just got him in. But doesn't mean it was the right decision to sack him. Obviously, we got top 4, so I'm not saying it was the wrong decision. I'm just saying, he probably didn't get a fair crack of the whip, did he?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. BLTHFC saying, not enough is being said about Archie Gray putting in shifts at left back, centre back, right back this season. As a DM, these experiences will be important in solidifying his defensive awareness. Some player we've got here.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think he deserves a lot more praise for how he's been performing. I think at the moment he's being slept on, I think, by a lot of people, because maybe it's because of frustration of some of the results we've been getting or whatever, but I think the fact that he's 18 and he's contributed to the level he has is phenomenal in my opinion, and he's done brilliant.
Dan Gregory says, just seen a blind man leaving the Spurs Saints game. Sums up Southampton, really. Even the blind men have seen enough.
Yeah, he couldn't stand watching it. He couldn't even stand watching it. Brilliant.
Spurs Watch saying, Spurs are the first team in the Premier League this season to have 4 teenagers on the pitch at the same time, and we go and win 5-0.
Yeah, it's mad, actually. You look at our squad yesterday on the bench. Actually, I think we'll get into it, but I think it's one of the tweets we'll talk about. Yeah, it is. So I won't mention it. But 4 teenagers on the pitch yesterday. Is it a consequence of the squad that we have at the moment, or Ange giving opportunities to young players? But also, it just goes to show, people saying Ange doesn't give opportunities, but we're the first team to give 4 teenagers in the same game a go. So, obviously he's been forced into it, but at least that shows the quality of young players we do have in the squad.
Spursy Luca, another one of these AI-generated images of Spence snatching Porro's chain.
Yeah, Porro's getting worried for his place, I think, at the moment.
He should do. That performance is significant, really significant in my opinion. Hotspur-related, Sonia Min, we've been through that. Squawker Live saying it's taken Jed Spence just 36 seconds to provide an assist for the first ever Premier League start for Tottenham. He must have been buzzing after the game last night. He probably couldn't sleep last night with that performance. He's been waiting so patiently for this for so long. And finally it comes and he just takes it and grabs it with both hands.
You saw he was in conversation at half-time with Maddison, and Maddison was, I think, bigging him up of his performance in that first half. And I think he'll grow a lot in confidence after that, just knowing that he came in, he did his job brilliantly, had a great performance, and hopefully there'll be no excuses now not to give him more game time.
Spurs Express, Spurs fans chanting, we want Levy out and I don't care about Levy, he don't care about me, all I care is Kulusevski. Yeah, I know that, I was there last night. And Jay Harris, last but not least, saying, Spurs are in a tricky situation when 19-year-old Will Lancashire is the sub with the 4th highest amount of appearances in the Premier League, and he has 1 appearance off the bench, and that is crazy. That's crazy.
The 4th highest, and he's had 1 appearance.
He's the 4th most experienced player on that bench yesterday.
And that just shows the state of the squad right now. So you do have to give Ange a bit of grace for that. But yeah, look, let's hope that we don't use that as an excuse to lose either of the next 2 games. Yeah,
absolutely. And that is how the internet did react to the 5-0 drubbing of Southampton yesterday. I'm going to finish off with a couple of super chats, and then that will be that. Proof Kumar says, if Spence doesn't start on Thursday, ... he has to.
Yeah, look, he's got a big decision to make, because obviously, look, Porro's been his most trusted one. He's not in good form, but I guess depends on. Look, you could argue either way whether Doggy's fit or not. He should start either left back or right back. I guess if a Doggy's not fit, Spence has to start left back. So I think, and if Doggy is fit, does he take Porro's place? He
does take Porro's place, in my opinion, because Porro didn't get the rest that we needed.
Yeah, true. And also, I thought Spence looked better than Porro yesterday anyway.
Spence has to start at right back. And if a Doggy's injured, he has to start left back. But he has to start regardless, in my opinion. Blymer says, hello. Do you think Kulusevski is better now or when he first joined Spurs? I think he's better now.
When he first joined Spurs, though, he was
brilliant.
Absolutely electric, wasn't he?
He was, but I
got,
think
like 13 goal contributions in like 14 games or something.
yeah, but take the goal contributions out of it, he's impacting games a lot more now. In terms of his physicality, his confidence. He's our player of the season by a long stretch. Like when he first came in, he was brilliant. I'm not denying that. I'm not trying to play it down. But yeah, first of all, we had Kane, and obviously he was our player of the season. But I just feel like the way he's impacting games at the moment is something that we haven't seen from Kulusevski on a consistent basis.
Yeah, fair enough. On that basis, he's doing phenomenally well, and also goal contributions wise, he's probably not too far off it anyway right now. So, in all competitions anyway. So, look, I think right now he's probably the best version of Decky we've seen.
Yeah. All right. So there you have it. That is the end of the stream, guys. We'll be back tomorrow for some more Spurs content for you guys. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.